you doing here? Just snapping some photos?
Yeah, he's emotional support.
Yeah, especially since like she doesn't know you guys, and it was a good.
Yeah, I was scared.
We're killer. Yeah,
I was scared
I'd be
of you,
scared.
to be honest.
Scared Phil
If
too.
you guys attack,
It's a
I have to
buffer.
jump in and say.
I heard things, so I was like, Sean, if you wouldn't mind coming.
Let me know what you heard.
Listen, let's see, mic check. Can you talk into that mic and let's just check for volume?
Hello, hello.
All right, say your names.
Ricardo Migliarese. Philip.
All right, Philip. All right, Rick and Phil. There's the camera.
Oh, hey.
Give a little wave.
Hello.
Where do we start? There's so much. I was talking to Kelly last night to get some of the inside scoop on you too. So
Did Kelly provide?
hopefully you've been nice to her
nice
lately.
questions?
Yeah. I think we got to just start about how you got into jiu-jitsu in general. So we'll start with you.
Well, actually, start with
Start
Phil.
with Phil?
Started before me.
All right. Let's go way back
So, yeah, I don't want to date myself,
I know I
but
look old.
to 1960. I'm just
it
kidding.
was 1988.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's not too far off.
Yeah.
But so we grew up in a kind of fighting family, born into boxing, stuff like that, and always interested in martial arts and yoga. And 88, the Gracies had a video, Gracie in action.
Mm-hmm.
We mailed the check in, and I'm trying to remember if it was Black Belt magazine. I think it was.
Yeah.
And got the tape, VHS tape, and popped it in there and started like watching and repeating what we saw in the video.
Oh, cool.
And then shortly after, maybe like a year or two later, our friend Steve Maxwell. So Steve Maxwell is one of the earliest black belts.
Mm-hmm.
Started the whole more or less East Coast jiu-jitsu scene. There was nowhere else to train besides his gym in the East Coast.
And you were in Philly at this time.
In Philly, yeah. We grew up in Philly. So like 2 years after that tape, he came over our house. Rick had been babysitting Zach Maxwell, who's, world-class athlete. And he said, hey, we have a bunch of people getting together doing this jiu-jitsu thing. And I'm like, the Gracies?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, we're going to be doing
Casual.
that. And went in there. So that was more or less my first group class. I was a child with a bunch of guys.
Right.
And there was only more or less, first couple years.
I had a drinking problem ever since I started jiu-jitsu.
Rick's over here.
Oh, yeah.
Rick's over here
Well.
drooling.
He's drooling.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, so, it was like 10 to 15 guys for many years, small little group, and then 93 UFC hit, and that was it. It was,
Wow.
it just
What was it
exploded.
like training in a group like that? Like how old were you?
A little kid,
Yeah, so you were really young.
teenager, yeah.
Were they like taking it easy on you?
No.
They were going as hard as possible, right?
No, I don't know as hard as possible, but I don't feel like anyone was nice
You were
to me.
the youngest.
I was the youngest, and like I didn't quit. I was tough for my age, and
Yeah.
and then I was going with adult men that I was able to put in a triangle sometimes, or
Right.
as a white belt
And this is in the gi at the time.
in the gi. But we did gi and no gi from day one.
Oh, really?
'Cause,
That's
yeah,
surprising.
Yeah, day one. Maxwell was a wrestler,
Okay.
so
yeah, that makes sense.
also he was the first one to get a blue belt. But when he first opened the club, he was no belt. He was
Right.
Yeah, so we would do literally it was like a wrestling class,
Oh, wow.
like a practice. We
Right.
would run around, jumping jacks,
Right.
fitness stuff, push. I mean, it's like an hour, hour or more warm up.
And you just loved it.
And just everything about it, because it filled in the blanks too between like boxing and what I thought was fighting,
Filled in.
filled in.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. We can cut that out.
I gotta catch up to you.
I'm drunk.
Yeah, so like the ground stuff.
And where did Rick come in? Was this like years later or?
So I think Rick would say I came home and tried everything on him, and then after a while
He was
I just
the
gave
dummy.
in. So I say he started the same day that I started,
makes
but
sense,
he just
yeah.
wasn't in the gym. I was
Right.
just showing him stuff. We're 3 years apart.
Yeah, you were
He was
bringing
a-
it home.
Yeah, he was a much younger kid at the time, so it was, it was
How many
different.
years apart are you guys?
3.
3. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and you were a kid, so you were really a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he already knew it, and he was just, born tough. So
Right.
Yeah. And the other thing is, too, like I always tell this story, he was a white belt, I was a blue belt, and I think you were asking me about a triangle or something like that. And I was like, this is how you do it. You know, you do this. Here's another trick. And then he goes out on the mat and taps all the blue belts as a white belt with the triangle I just showed him. So
he caught on quick.
Like the aptitude was, it was fast. So
that's awesome.
I don't know. Here, you add a couple details.
Yeah, so tell me your perspective.
Well, the triangle thing came because obviously he came home, like he was saying, he was showing me stuff. I wasn't really like as interested because I was young and in and out the house running around, you know. But when I came in, I think I was training for like a month, like kind of consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the year, I think it was the first tournament. What was that, 90? So 94. No, 93. It was 90. It had to be, yeah, it was definitely that. And my first tournament, I lost in 30 seconds from a triangle by a guy this big.
Wow.
I'll never forget that.
So you were like, absolutely not, never again.
No, that was the day I actually got really serious with it.
Yeah.
I got serious. I was in the gym every day, morning, night, because I wanted to know how to do what he just did. Because you're young, I'm cocky. I'm like, I'm going to go run through this guy. The guy was this big. I remember he traveled from New York. I don't even know if that guy trains anymore.
I was going to say,
but he changed my life forever. He was a guy that came in and out of my life, but we're gonna find you.
We're sending a search.
He probably doesn't even train anymore.
He's gonna comment.
He probably trained just to get me in, and he was like, I did my job. But I remember going in. I was like, yeah, I got hit with the triangle. I went off to the side, and I was just like, I'm in it.
Yeah.
I was like,
sometimes
I want
it's
to know.
gotta happen.
I always say there's two types of people that walk in the gym. The type of person that comes in, gets their butt kicked, friendly butt kick, and just like, I don't ever want to do this again.
Yes.
And then the guy comes in,
Motivates
gets his butt kicked, and said, what the hell is that?
Absolutely, yeah.
I need to try that. I need to do that. I want to be able to do that to other people.
Absolutely.
And then the snowball effect of the lifestyle just hits. It's like, oh my God, this comes with this. People walk into the gym for different reasons all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but with jiu-jitsu, you can't expect what you're going to get. You're going to get so much more.
Of course.
So whether it was for exercise, whether it was for self-defense, whatever the case may be, you go in for that original purpose,
right?
And then you wind up just, oh my God, this is a lifestyle. I meet so many great people. I don't even talk to people who usually don't do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
I was asking. I was like, is she like a white belt? What does she do?
You had to vet me. You're like, oh no.
I was like, I'm not. Yeah. Yeah, don't ask me.
I just made it. Don't
ask me purple belt questions.
I won't. Don't you worry. No. I'm only a blue belt, so you don't have to worry about that.
But yeah, and that's another beautiful thing about jiu-jitsu, just a lifestyle. You get to meet these great people, no matter where they're at in their life, no matter where they come from. We share this common thing, and we get on the mat.
It's so true. I was in Puerto Rico recently, and we had our flight canceled, and so we were all stuck in a layover for like 4 hours, and I was wearing like a jiu-jitsu cap, and some guy was wearing a jiu-jitsu shirt, and there was like 6 of us that became friends in the airport because of jiu-jitsu, because somebody saw something on a shirt, and we talked for hours. The one dude ended up sitting next to me on the plane. We talked about jiu-jitsu the entire 2.5 hours home, and we both said, we're like, this would never happen like in most other sports.
No,
the fact that we just all like gravitated, and now like follow each other on Instagram, are friendly, like follows the podcast. It's so cool.
And I'm sure in like other like sports and stuff, there's like
camaraderie.
Like that. Mm-hmm. But I mean, we've never did any other sports other than
you don't know.
fighting and jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So with jiu-jitsu, it's like it's one of the only things I ever did in my life where I can travel, walk into a place I've never been before, and be like family.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, most of the places you get some bad apples here and there, but that's with anything good. But for the most part, man, they do jiu-jitsu, and it's pretty inviting.
It's cool.
I think, for everybody.
Yeah, and especially like me, like I started in my 30s, so it's hard to like meet people at the older you get. Like, where do you meet people? Work. And if you are in school, which I'm not anymore, and I work from home, so it's kind of hard to meet people here. So when I started jiu-jitsu, I was like, oh, this is the first time I'm around like-minded people.
So you just started inviting people to your house.
Yeah, I was like, well, that's why Sean's here,
I know, the mediator.
My bodyguard of the day. I'm sure it'll go over well.
I know.
So when you guys were competing, were you competing both gi, no gi?
Yeah, we had to do it all.
All.
Oh, and we come from. Go ahead.
Like so the sport of MMA was non-existent when we started.
Right.
And even when it started after the UFC, it was still considered no holds barred.
Right.
It didn't really. I don't know when that MMA term was coined, but fights took place in the gym,
right?
Kind of secretly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the matches that did happen outside happened in like boxing rings,
Right.
but like I said, it was low key at that point.
Yeah.
And that's actually like, someone asked me the other day why I got involved. I was like, to defend myself. They're like, well, how do you do it in a sport where you drop to your butt and scoot around? I'm like, we don't do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wait a minute.
I have done it in sport, but the way I train, I want to throw and be on top if I can.
Are you a black belt on the mats, but a white belt around your house? No problem. Independence Interior Systems is here to save the day. They remodel bathrooms, kitchens, basements, floors. They fix and install electric, plumbing, and so much more. Don't tap out on DIY projects. Let Independence Interior Systems free up your time to let you focus on the black belt you're meant to be. Call 856-230-5987 for a free estimate. If you're in the South Jersey area, that's 856-230-5987. Of
And
course.
in the other situation where the guy's so much better at throwing, you may be on your back for a sec. So, but
Yeah.
Primarily, and even now, I do it just to stay tough, just in case something happened out there, and the sport is just fun.
Definitely. And I think people who don't train get it mixed up. Like, there is self-defense jiu-jitsu and then there is sport jiu-jitsu, right?
See, we didn't
Agree
have
or
that.
disagree?
We didn't
Yeah,
have
see, it
that.
was the other way around.
Yeah,
When
'cause
you were growing
gotta
up, you
remember,
mean.
we were a Helston affiliation.
Can you pass them? Sorry.
Here you go.
We were a Helston affiliation, and also, with Steve Maxwell, Helston was like street fighting. That was
Right.
it. Like, we were heel hooking in the gi as
Oh, wow,
white
back
belts.
then.
Oh,
Huh.
there was, it cracks me up because I was just talking about this the other day in class with, I think it's called the mother's milk now.
Oh,
The-
I'm
the
very
position.
familiar. Rick.
So,
I'm very-
so
it's been done
Helston,
to me
no,
many
no,
times.
Helston, you know what it is. Helston's neck crank, yeah. So Helston,
Yep.
as white and blue belts, Helston will come in.
tournament with that.
You go, buddy, I'm teach you something. You can't do it in here, but this is for save your life. That's
Oh, thank you.
And I'm like, okay. So he would teach that, and we would learn everything. We had to learn everything. He goes, but you have to control it, and this is stuff for the street. You guys can't do it in tournaments and stuff. And now I'm like, oh, people are doing this in tournaments.
Right.
I recently
Oh,
just put a
100%.
video up that.
Like Helston was 100% right on
Oh,
everything.
I was
Yeah.
mother's milked at the last two ADCCs back to back.
Oh, really?
Amanda Levy said to me that I'm the only person she knows
That
that,
got
has
mother-
been mother's milked as much as I have.
Oh, beautiful.
I think
Yeah.
like jujitsu.
Fun
like,
stuff.
I'm going to propose this to everyone out there. The jujitsu terms and labels should go through a panel.
I agree.
I think there should be an official I disagree with mother's milk. We have to he's actually the best at nicknames. He can.
There you go.
He's given hundreds
We'll
of
vote you
nicknames to others over the years.
Oh yeah. Well, for ADCC, I'm sure you're aware. The women's weight class is crazy. So it's the highest weight class is basically an open weight class. It's not, but it's I think it's 145 to infinity.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Because there's not many minutes. So when I go in there, obviously I'm not going to cut under 145 unless I chop my leg off. So the women are quite large, tall, big, and I was taken down and she just jumped on top of me, and the video is hilarious because when I tap, I come up and I'm like, it looks like I'm coming out of the water because I was
now cut to the
suffocated.
video.
Yeah, I am. It went viral. It's over 1 million views. So,
What?
yeah, it's
I
unfortunate.
didn't see it. I want to know.
My
I'm
claim
looking
to
it up.
fame.
I want to get mother's milk now.
My claim to fame, guys, and the hip toss. Anyway, so I'm surprised that you guys were doing leg locks because when I had
Day one.
Mike Wacker on last week,
Yeah.
who I know you guys know, he was saying that it was kind of looked down upon, if he was doing heel hooks and stuff like that.
Well,
back
it
then.
matters where you were. If
Of
you were in
course.
Brazil, so
Cheating.
Yeah.
Brazil. Even so, I competed. I guess the first time in the Worlds I was purple, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I got a crash course from Helston Gracie in his living room one time, just how to win in Brazil. It's footlock.
Yeah.
It was just he was like, I don't care what, it's part of the rules. It's all legit. Nobody trains them, and people get freaked out. Just straight footlock,
Right.
nothing fancy.
Yeah.
No heel hooks or knee bars, and legit worked.
Crazy, yeah.
But they hated it,
Yeah.
and then it started to catch on the straight footlock.
Mm-hmm.
But Helson's been doing it from the beginning.
That's crazy.
He was fascinated with heel hooks and leg locks and that sort of stuff because of some old Brazilian tournaments and challenge matches between Brazilian schools. And one of the schools was very heavy in leg locks.
Right.
And then he and a couple of his brothers just took that information and just played around with it. And then Elio Gracie loved heel hooks, especially in the self-defense situation, you know.
Right.
So there are a couple of videos out there of him demonstrating in the gi, but yeah, we were
You
doing
guys were
them day
ahead of
one.
the curve for sure.
But also, Steve Maxwell was fascinated with catch wrestling, which, you know, is very, very old and very, very, you know, sophisticated as well with you know, no gi practice. Well,
Right.
gi or no gi, it doesn't matter. But yeah, so since the beginning, we were doing no gi. We didn't know any different.
Right.
So even like performance-wise, I was able to compete with black belts when I was a purple belt when we took the gi off.
I see.
They didn't know as
Yeah.
much. Yeah, we
So-
knew more no-gi than they did at the time
Yeah.
because no one was training it.
I'm surprised. I thought I was gonna ask you like how drastically different jiu-jitsu was in the '90s versus now, but I feel like it wasn't as drastic as I expected because you guys were
Well, it
kind of ahead
matters
of the curve.
where you were training, and you know, with more people practicing, you have more variations on movement because
Right.
of body type, personalities. You know, your personality has a lot to do with the way you behave. with the way-
Exactly.
Smacking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, when we were passing the guard, we were.
Yeah,
Wow.
open hand strikes. Yeah.
Jesus.
And
So
it was like I said,
yeah.
it was not like you're not like a mean street fighter, because I think the tougher people are, the more, like, you know, like I know more gentlemen that are killers. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
you don't have to act tough. You don't
Right. Yeah.
They're just so.
You can
But I
back it
think
up.
there's more of that now. People are like, you know, I just got my purple. you
Yeah,
know?
oh, 100%.
They have,
or even their second
They
stripe
have
on their white
cauliflower
belt.
ear privilege.
Yeah, they get a tattoo right there.
I was with my cousin the other day. I told this story a couple times, and my ears are clean, even though I had a little cauliflower ear. Our ears never like blew up.
Yeah.
Just because I don't know
I was,
why.
I was gonna say
'Cause my
some
ears
people are
flat,
more. Yeah.
And
Oh
you know,
yeah. Huh.
yeah.
I see it.
Or
Yeah.
get to my ear.
I don't know what it is. You know, I hit it with a hammer and it doesn't ever. So, but my cousin Frank, he definitely has
A
his
lot.
ears are. He's been wrestling since he was a little kid, and you know, 4th degree black belt. But we were eating dinner the other night in Northeast Philly, which is, you know, you have a lot of wrestlers, and you know, it's pretty where he lives. There's a lot of wrestling, and we were eating at the restaurant, and a guy walks in, and I could see the guy. And Frank's like off to the side, and then I see one of the dude's ears. I'm like, oh, he's got to be. His ear was like hanging.
Yeah.
And he's like walking like this, you know, like he doesn't look
Yeah.
mean, but he looks like.
Yeah. Confident.
But he walks past us, and then he looks at me, and then he looks at my cousin. He goes, "Oh hey, how are you?" So he had like camaraderie because
You're like,
you know,
great.
And he passed me up. I was like,
You're like-
when am I going to finally get the street cred? You know, but.
You went home and just started like tugging at your ear.
No, I started looking on Amazon for the fake fake cauliflower ear.
See, and I had a guy on here like months ago who said he's actually had issues because of his cauliflower ear. Like he's had guys come up and like challenge him in bars.
Oh yeah,
And he's like, what the
people
hell?
play, yeah.
Yeah.
You're wearing a shirt.
That's true.
Yeah, but if you see
Yeah.
that, it should be the opposite. You know?
It should
That's like
be,
someone
but-
messing with him. Like people do mess with him. I'm
Really?
like, what is wrong with them?
Really, can
Yeah.
I hear a little bit about that?
You go.
Like people just approach you and
No. But I mean, look, I live in Philadelphia. I grew up there my whole life. You're gonna run into, you know, things here and there. I had to kick a guy out of the Planet Fitness 2 days ago because he came in and he was a bit mentally ill.
Get a hockey mask on.
Yeah, I got a picture of him.
did the lunk alarm go off?
No, but
That's
listen.
funny. They should have alarmed.
when I went in there, I usually anywhere I go, I'm super friendly. I'm talking to the custodian, I'm talking to the
Yeah.
manager, I'm talking to everybody. So I usually I go in, hey, what's up? How you doing? Blah,
Yeah.
blah. I walk in, everybody's like this. So I was waiting for one of my my buddies to come in. So I was
Yeah.
like, you guys okay? And then the guy who was mentally ill or whatever, he was young. I'm gonna guess like mid-20s.
Oh, wow.
He had a Jason mask on.
Okay.
He had a backpack and he had a
Scary.
bottle and God knows what else he had. So I'm looking around and this guy's definitely an issue for a normal person.
Uh-huh.
You know, he's very scary. I see him accosting. He was going to people on the treadmill when I walked in. He's like staring at them, and nobody knew how to handle it.
Yeah.
So I talked to the one person who works the desk, and I said, "Do you want him out of here?"
Yeah.
And they looked at me like, "Yeah, we called the cops." I'm like, "But they're not coming. I don't know." I was like, "If you want him out, I can get him out." I was like, "I'll get him out." I said,
Yeah.
"And I'll do it nice, as I can." Well, look, I'm pro-choice. I let them choose
There you go.
which one of me they get to meet. How's that? That's how I do it. So I'm very,
very
I'll go up.
kind of you.
I'm gonna approach them whenever. Well, he was out of his mind
Really?
for a second because he was very like belligerent with them. So I knew what I was walking into. So I said, "Hey, buddy," I said, "You got to go." I said, "You don't have a membership. You got to go."
Yeah.
So he didn't know if I worked there or what.
Right,
He was
right.
like looking at me up and down. I'll show you the picture. I have him
Yeah.
on here.
Oh, I can't
And
wait.
he's like looking at me. And I see his like eyes, like dude, the like little jaundice like eyes. Like
God.
I see he was like
Yeah, it's not good.
either souped up on something, but. And then the interaction, I'm almost like cutting the ring off. Cutting the ring. I'm
Yeah.
cutting him off to go out the door. So
Right.
as I'm talking to him,
Yeah.
I'm using like,
Yeah, you're gradually pushing.
verbal jujitsu and body language to almost cut him off just to get him out because once he's
Yeah.
out, that's all I want.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be violent. Finally, I push him out. He's like yelling at me, and then I said something to him, which I won't say on here, but I basically
Subscribe to Just
what I said kind of I think conveyed that hey, I'm not a police officer,
Right.
I'm not a manager, which means I don't have rules either. Just like you do. Because some people feel like they can heighten the moment.
Yeah.
And he could be honestly mentally ill or whatever, but he got it.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely got it. He went outside where they were trying for like a half hour, 45 minutes to get him out. And
Wow.
I said a few things to him, and he wound up just leaving. And then the cops come.
Oh, great.
And then,
Thank you.
and then Johnny came, and then as they're coming in, the cops didn't know what to do either. They were like young
jeez,
cops
yeah.
too, but they knew him by first name. They came in, they're like,
Oh, so
David.
he's a regular David.
No, and I said, "Do you know this guy?" I said, "I can't see his face." I said, "You know him?" He goes, "We've been dealing with him for a week." So unfortunately, like in Philly, there's a
Yeah.
huge problem with mentally ill people, and believe me, I feel for these people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the first to help these people out. I'm up 4 a.m. if you don't know,
Oh,
walking
I
the
know.
dog. Oh, you do. I'm underneath 95. I'm like, if I see somebody, but I'm the first to buy these guys a coffee
Yeah.
if they need it. And if you're showing like, you're not doing anything to the cars, or if you're not, and you're just trying to exist and trying to listen, I get it.
Yeah.
get
Well,
it.
two things can be true, right? You can have empathy, but also want to protect
I
yourself
do.
and others from
I
whatever
had
the hell's
that with
going on.
everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm pro-choice.
Yeah.
I let you
I
choose.
love that about
But
you.
at the same time, I have 4 kids. I have a wife. I have 3 daughters. I got to worry about, my job waking up in the morning. I was like, man, I got to be ready to die every single day
Yeah.
for my kids. And I love my life. It's not like, oh, I'm ready to die. Blah. I'm not like that. I'm just like, I know what my job is.
Yeah.
I got to make sure my kids are good. And then where my immediate living area is, I got to make sure it's okay.
Yeah. Besides that, do both of you have any experience with jiu-jitsu, like really helping you out in life or with your families?
I think everything, right? I think
Yeah.
it made me a better father, made me a better husband, made me a better person. I treat people a lot better. I'm less likely to throw you out the window because I trained that day. But seriously, it's like this has been my therapy. So I don't know if you know it too. I got this thing here. It's actually better now. It's not even impressive.
No.
But
what is
you
that?
saw it, Sean. So it was the first of the month last month. So it's been a little over a month.
Yeah.
I was training. I think I thought I jammed it because
Yeah.
when you train, you get home and then you start feeling
Oh,
things. I
yeah.
must have rolled over my neck. Oh, my knees look. But
Oh,
you don't
yeah.
feel until like the adrenaline's
Yeah, the
down. So
adrenaline.
I vaguely remember jamming it, getting a choke, but not jamming it to the point where I was like, oh, I'm stopping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I thought I jammed it.
Right.
That was on a Monday. Tuesday, I was like, all right. Went and lifted, did my 100 rep, 2 hours in the gym. Wednesday came in, did it again. Thursday, my finger blew up. It was an infection in my
Oh.
joint, which I don't know how anything
Yeah,
got
how
in
did
there.
that happen?
It could have been activated, I guess, through a jam and the
Weird.
flu. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but they
Yeah.
couldn't figure it out either because there was nowhere that anything could get inside the
Right.
joint. It was the worst pain I ever had. I couldn't go that Friday because my nephew was fighting.
Right.
So I had my finger in the glass of ice walking around
Jeez.
coaching. The next day, a good friend of mine was getting married. My wife was like, you have an infection. You're going to die. I said, well, we're going to die at Andy's wedding. And so that's Sunday because I'm not a tough guy. That thing hurt.
Yeah.
It probably hurt more than anything I've ever had in my life.
What did they do for you? They drain it?
So I would go to urgent care. I just went straight to urgent care.
Yeah.
They put me on antibiotic, which was like the second time in my whole life I've ever been on antibiotics. I don't take anything. It took the pain down because it had its own heartbeat.
Oh,
I was
jeez.
almost going to name it. I thought it was like a baby. I was like,
It's your
"This,
new
I'm
child."
pregnant." But
Good thing you're pro-choice.
they did that. They took the X-ray. Nothing was broke, and it took actually yesterday was the first day training.
Jeez,
and
that's such a freak thing.
I did 20 matches.
You know what it kind of looked like at first? I thought it was like from grips, like
Yeah.
from like
Yeah, I
deep
can
grips.
say it. I got cauliflower finger.
Yeah, look.
You
oh,
don't
there
have
go.
that,
There's
Phil?
an option, Phil.
Huh? From flicking in everybody's ear, I
So
have.
now people go up to Rick like, hey,
Yeah.
bro.
Now everybody has like messed up fingers. They're like doing one of these.
They look at his finger. What's up,
I was
bro?
like, you have cauliflower ear, but you don't ever have cauliflower finger. You don't train hard enough, dude.
Getting back to training in the 90s real quick.
That's
Did you
terrible.
getting back to
like this.
1990
Yeah.
or I should say whenever 90s to early 2000s, were there women at all when you guys started
Oh
training?
my God. Wait, what was her name? Antonia.
Yeah. She was so tough.
And DC Maxwell.
Okay, and
Yeah.
and then I know like when Ronda Rousey became popular, I'm sure. Did you see an influx?
Yeah, there were women in the 90s.
Really?
Tough.
In the room with you.
Tough.
That is
Maya.
surprising.
Maya competed with Lecca.
She's a national
And Lecca was like the first.
first female
Yeah.
black belt world champion.
Wow.
Yeah,
And you
Lecca
guys
was.
were training with them, you're saying?
It was always
Like you train?
it was like balanced down. Like everybody trained together.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, everybody
But-
trained.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 90s wise, everybody obviously was welcome in the gym, and I'd say a third of the gym were women training.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Crazy,
everything
right?
you're telling me is so
Yeah.
surprising. I'm like, what the hell?
rate was a little higher.
Yeah, and there's a reason too, because it was in a gym.
Right.
So we were like, come on in, come on
That
in.
makes sense.
And
You were
we ran a
recruiting.
lot of women's self-defense classes.
Cool.
So, I mean, those classes, you could get 40 people doing it for 12 weeks.
Wow.
And out of that population, you can get 3 or 4 people to train like the sport of jiu-jitsu or, yeah. So we had quite a bit.
And was everybody pretty cool? Like, were there any issues with like women training with men, or it was pretty cool?
No, yeah.
That's
why
great.
I have the hardest time building a women's program at Balance, a women's only, because the co-ed classes are so, easy and cool.
Wow.
It just, the environment and the culture.
Maybe
just anybody
location.
can train. Huh?
Yeah. I wonder if location has anything to do with it, because I feel like in like these areas where it's more rural, I don't feel like we get as many
No.
women walking.
Yeah,
through the doors.
we've always been in a city, so we have 3 gyms,
Yeah.
and why don't you say the classes are all, it's kind of
Mixed.
more or less distributed,
That's
and
great.
it's always been. So last I saw, because now you have to understand too, we're also Muay Thai.
Yeah.
And Muay Thai is a little bit more friendly. It's a little bit more distance
Yes,
for most
yeah.
people to train. So there were women in the 90s
In general.
in general. They did train with us. I would say, like 20 to 30% of the population on the mats
Wow.
were, and then one of the first female black belts in Philly, DC, right? Or the first. She was the wife of Steve Maxwell.
Cool.
So she was a black belt. So yeah, it was always strong, part
Yeah.
of the culture.
She still trains.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. Which
And I
brings me-
encourage it more,
with what, with having more women training.
100%.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
we
especially
both
in the
have.
cities.
I have a daughter. He has a daughter.
Do they all
I'm a-
train?
yeah. Oh yeah,
Cool.
for sure. And I mildly get offended when I can't teach the women's only groups. So I get upset because I want to show moves and then
Right.
maybe for an hour and then I
Yeah,
split. Then it's
yeah.
women's only.
Yeah,
So
that's how ours
I
is
was
too.
saying I think I'm going to start running these groups right out of Balance. Have
you
some
go.
camps, and then leave everyone to their the women's only group. But I get to
Yeah.
teach for an hour.
Yeah.
So
Let's get into Balance real quick.
Let's go.
So, if you guys don't know, both of you own, how many? Is it 3 locations? now?
Balance Studios. Yeah, the ones called Balance Studios
Yeah.
are 4 now, and
Four now.
and we have a new one in Haddonfield, New Jersey that we're
With
building right now.
Haduko, right?
Haduko is the building.
Yeah.
And then we're Balance Studios inside.
Awesome.
It's a training center. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really cool area. I actually used to live there up in
So
that area.
nice.
It's so
Yeah,
freaking
so
nice.
nice.
Yeah. So you're there. You're in 2 in Philly.
Fishtown is our main location with our
Mm-hmm.
offices and stuff. And then Center City, Philadelphia, which is our original
Mm-hmm.
it's not our original location, but that's our original area.
Right.
And like 22 years ago, and then Northeast Philly with my cousin Frank.
Northeast
so
Philly.
those are the ones called Balance, and then affiliate wise, like 60 across the
Gotcha.
world now. Yeah.
Wow. And then
Yeah.
when did you open up originally?
Balance Studios in 2002,
2002.
but
And what's
training since 88.
yeah.
Yeah.
When or I should say, how did that come about? Like, what was the decision to do that?
Things were kind of going weird, and people were divorcing and breaking up, and all this stuff at Maxercise, and so many people went like more or less forced to go their own way.
Yeah.
And on a bike ride one day, was riding around Philly, you know, and I kind of knew I had to go on my own way.
Yeah.
And I rolled into this giant garage. That's how it happened, because I couldn't find space that was
Yeah.
affordable. I mean, still, it's ridiculously expensive to do it. And yeah, I rode my bike into this one place. I was like, I think this is it.
Cool.
You know, signed a lease, and you know, it was sickening with the expenses. I was like, how am I going to do this? And that's how it started. And then originally, Balance was my yoga gym and my, you know, yoga studio, and then jiu-jitsu gym in one, because I
that's
had a
cool.
following. I've been doing yoga since I was like 8 years
Yeah.
old, and I had a following in Philly that was pretty big. That it made sense to have like a center.
Right.
And so I brought all those people, and then we had jiu-jitsu people, and you know, Balance Studios. That's what it was. It
Yeah.
was,
So you were doing yoga before jiu-jitsu?
yeah.
And did you just get into that randomly as a hobby?
Through,
or?
kind of random through a gym teacher in school.
Cool.
I went to this Quaker school, and she taught a little bit of yoga. Was fascinated by it.
Yeah.
And it was always like, you know, I associated the flexibility to improve like martial arts stuff.
Yeah,
So I
that
could
makes
throw
sense.
a high kick or something, you know.
Yeah.
So I always liked it.
That's cool. Do you still
Every day.
train now?
Yeah, it's like
Awesome.
40 years now. It's crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, every day I practice. And so I was in a car wreck when I was about 17, and it forced me, because of all the broken bones,
Yeah.
it forced me to do it every day.
Right.
Where I enjoyed to do it every day when
Yeah.
I was younger, and then, you know, if I don't do it, I feel the difference.
Yeah. Have
So
you
I
ever been
kept-
to Laughing Buddha in Jersey?
I have not. No.
It's like maybe 20 minutes from here. They have 2 locations, but it's hot yoga, so it's like 105 degrees or something
yeah,
ridiculous.
that's good to do.
Oh yeah, I started doing it because I couldn't move my neck. I was
Yeah.
like, anytime somebody would call my name, I'd have to like turn my entire
that's not
body.
good, yeah.
And I was like, man, I gotta do something. And so my one friend Lily is really involved, so I started doing yoga. I love it. It's
Yeah,
really awesome.
I think it's one of the best things to do
Yeah.
along with jiu-jitsu.
Absolutely.
Especially for longevity.
Yeah. Do you still have any yoga affiliation in any of the gyms, or it's now just
No,
do
my
it?
my teacher was literally the founder of Ashtanga Yoga.
Oh,
like
wow.
he passed away many years ago, and I have another teacher that lives in New York, and you know, and I just practice every day. So Ashtanga Yoga is different than a lot of the other yoga systems in that it's a set system.
Yeah.
It's like you're doing move 1, 2 in an order, and then that's that.
Oh,
So
okay.
I can practice anywhere. I can throw a mat out anywhere, do your practice, and then you know.
Is this like Bikram kind of?
Bikram in the sense that it is an organized set series
Yeah.
of postures, right?
Right.
But it's different. You know, he has a heated room,
Very
and
cool.
you know, they're different postures, but also similar.
Yeah. No,
so
that's
yoga
cool.
is yoga.
Yeah.
But it's just it's good. It's like more movement based
Yeah.
than it is. It's breathing and moving together.
And
So-
a lot of strength. I don't think people give it enough
no,
credit.
you don't.
Like-
It's no joke. Like when
Yeah.
I make people do it, like I'll get him do it. I had speaking of Frankie Eggert, I had
Yeah.
Frankie in a room. It was for some magazine. I think it was like a Men's Health magazine
Yeah.
we did. So I was like, let's go. I'll get
Yeah.
in the room, and so I had them do it, and I tortured them.
Oh, yeah.
It's straight torture if you don't have that mobility.
100%. Like if you don't know better, like I'll say before I started, I was like, I was like, this is boring. It's slow. Cause you know, jujitsu is like it's good for ADHD people. So I was like, this is boring. And I was like, you know, it's just stretching. It's like what you
Yeah.
think it is. And then
Yeah.
I was like, this is freaking hard, especially when people are like inverting and like you do all those like handstand, like you can really
Yeah.
like bring it up to a crazy level.
Yeah, I told my friend too, maybe first time for him to do yoga, and we're talking about ADHD and stuff like that. And I was like, come do it with me sometime. You know, I was like, it's going to be maybe the hardest thing you've ever done in
It
your life.
really
You might
is.
find it boring, get angry. You'll have all these emotions on the mat. But it's helpful, you know, because
100%.
you're forced to be in the moment right there
It's hard.
and deal with whatever it is going on in your head yourself,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and it's cool to pair it with jujitsu because I feel like it's similar but so opposite at the same time. Like jujitsu's fast paced, you can't think, and then yoga, all you can do is think, and you have to like choose not to think and to be in the moment.
Well, you don't have to unchoose anything, you know.
Meaning?
Like, yeah, the things going through your head. Part of the point of yoga is just to be aware of things.
Right.
So I am aware of all these thoughts going through my head.
Yeah.
You don't have to not think.
That's true.
You just have to be aware that you're thinking, or aware that you're not thinking, or you know,
Yeah.
creates awareness. So there are
Yeah.
no rules to it in that sense, you know.
That's true.
And on the mat in jiu-jitsu, you can borrow that awareness to be, it's like moment to moment awareness.
Yeah.
You know, not like, I don't know, like there's a freaking armbar coming at me. I
Yeah.
have to be aware and in this moment right now. And eventually yoga will become that for people, especially.
That's true.
That's one of the reasons why I gravitated to the Ashtanga practice. There's no stopping. It's just you start practicing and you know what you need to do.
Right.
So if there was a lighter, less of a focus around a system, and the system's thousands of years old. People have been doing this stuff for a reason. It's worked.
Right.
And it's not just the pretzel positions and
what people think,
Instagram stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's a deep practice. So
100%.
but they go well together.
They do.
There are other forms of yoga that are a little bit less sweaty, less hot. They're all good too.
Yeah.
But you have to have, like, for different personalities, the entry point could be different.
Yeah.
So, like, less barriers.
Yeah, the hot yoga, it's a little bit quicker paced where I'm not as bored. I've done like YouTube ones. It's like they hold the position so long, which I know there's benefits to that, but I was like, I just can't sit here for another 5 minutes holding this goddamn like pigeon hold any longer.
I was in a talk about boredom in yoga.
Yeah.
And the instructor asked, "Why are you bored?"
Yeah.
But why are you bored in yoga?
I think because I have ADHD. I don't know. I just think I'm like, all right, what's the next thing?
You keep asking the question, "Why am I bored?"
Oh, okay. I thought you were actually asking
No,
me.
like literally yourself.
I was like, shit.
No, you.
He's interviewing me.
You asking you in that moment. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no,
stores
you're
the
right.
boredom.
Yeah,
why
why
am I bored?
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah.
No, but that's
really.
That's part of what the practice is about, is to like figure things out like that for yourself.
Yeah, I feel like it does balance me by doing both.
Yeah.
I just feel like I have to my brain has to switch back and forth.
Yeah, but you can make them the same thing.
Yeah.
No,
you're right.
And I also talk about the non-violence side of things too. It's like jiu-jitsu is not violence.
Right.
We're grappling with each other. It can be
gentle
violent.
art.
The application is gentle. When you receive it, sometimes it doesn't
That's why I think
feel
it's
so
funny they
gentle.
call it that, because I'm like, what?
No, it's the gentle application.
Yeah.
It should be effortless.
Right.
It's not too hard, but it feels like hell if you're, on the other side of it.
100%.
And then, even the UFC is nonviolent, even though it's extreme violence. But I always say this, like, it's two people in agreement with a contract that say, hey, we're going to do this thing for 5, what is it, 5 rounds maybe. Mm-hmm. And it's nonviolent in that form when there's agreement.
Consensual violence.
There you go.
You like that?
Yeah.
We should change it to that.
Well,
You better give me credit when you hashtag that later, Rick.
Consensual
That's right.
You can film it.
Consensual violence.
Can we do
Sponsored
elevator
by.
fights?
Yeah, elevator
Everybody's
fights.
got car fight. I wanna do
The
elevator
car fights is
but
interested.
Each floor, like one floor is like only jujitsu.
Yeah.
You get to the second floor, then
You got to
start hitting.
switch.
Yeah.
I like that. There we go. There we go. Also, before we
Yes.
switch, you are very involved with the Muay Thai program, correct?
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that? How'd you get into it, and how did you?
So pretty much day one. So we come from a boxing background. I was naturally interested, and since he was so good at boxing, I had to figure out how to get around it.
Yep, makes
Kicks
sense.
on the legs. So that was a mild equalizer. Now he knows how to kick, punch, and everything. So we're screwed. But day one, it just so happens in Philly, Maxwell at the gym there rented to the Muay Thai Association of Philadelphia and the Judo Association of Philadelphia. It was everything was in the same place for a number of years. And so one of the gentlemen there, that's Scalia, Bill Scalia, it was 1990.
Right.
Gave me some lessons on the side, Muay Thai, because I wanted to know, how is this different than boxing? Why can't I stand like this?
Yeah.
That sort of stuff. And I got fascinated there, and I did it for a number of years. I was like, I'm going to fight in Muay Thai and all this sort of stuff. And then my car accident happened.
Right.
Sidetrack, hip problem. I broke my hips, pelvis.
Jeez.
That kills your kicks.
I bet, yeah.
And it kills any sort of motion. So
Yeah.
I said, jiu-jitsu is the most important. So I thought about it like majoring and minoring in college.
Yeah.
So I majored in jiu-jitsu and I minored in striking.
There you go.
And so I didn't really have too much weight on my shoulders about becoming the best in Muay Thai, but I wanted to stay.
Yeah.
I was fascinated, and then then my instructor, how old is my daughter? 9. 9 years ago, right before she was born, he was like, "You have to test for more or less what your black belt is in Muay Thai,
Right.
like crew." And I got a lot more serious about it because he said, because you have to demonstrate everything,
Wow.
every technique, an elbow like this, an elbow like this.
Wow.
It's very detailed. It's a 4-hour test.
Really?
You fail a couple pieces, you don't demonstrate right, or you don't. So demonstration is slow. Like you show the elbows. There's like 9-10 different elbows.
Right.
30 ways to throw a jab.
Jeez.
Yeah, just like detailed. And so I did the whole test and passed. And
Wow,
but then
awesome.
it also became more serious at balance to
Yeah.
be more technical. It's a jiu-jitsu school
Of course.
with a good Thai program.
Yeah.
You know, but we're still people know balance for, you know,
Jiu-jitsu, of course.
And yeah, so I mean, I lived in Thailand. I had a couple trips
Oh,
out there.
cool.
Yeah, to
That's very
just
cool.
do it right and to go to the source and.
Yeah. Are you mostly running that program then at Balance? Or do you
Yeah,
have
we
other
have a
people?
lot of instructors. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I oversee all the programs.
Yeah.
You know, and so, yes, I guess that is the
Yeah.
right answer. Yeah.
You're like, yes, I do. Well, Kelly
Yeah.
was just telling me that it's like grown quite a
Oh
bit.
yeah, especially now. I think even the last year, big time. Especially Center City, Philly. Like
That's
the
awesome.
Muay Thai class are 50 people sometimes. It's
That's
crazy.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
that's
fun.
from my
And actually,
perspective unheard of.
it's November technically. So I started. It's my anniversary for Muay Thai. So I say Moivember.
November.
Yeah. So we'll celebrate. We're gonna get ready for like we have like in-house promotions and ranks.
Very cool.
So we're getting ready. We're gathering names and
That's
getting people
awesome.
ready to kind of test.
That's
you know?
really
And then
cool.
and testing is in Muay Thai is like, you know, belt rank more or less, but they have to perform too. You know,
Oh.
do a certain number of rounds, throw a certain number of kicks within a
Yeah,
round.
it's intense.
It's fun. Yeah, I think it might be harder than the
Do you-
jiu-jitsu one.
I was going to say, do you do belt tests for jiu-jitsu also?
Since it's so intimate, we know.
You know.
So we can, yeah, but like 6 months before jiu-jitsu, like our belt ceremony, yeah. We're already on it. We're
Yeah.
already testing. We move with the people too,
Right.
and then we also engage our other black belts and other people that are close to candidates to see like maybe what they need.
Okay, yeah.
So we'll provide the answer before we ever give the belt.
Gotcha.
People just don't know.
Yeah. No, that
Yeah.
makes sense. Gotcha.
So we're
yeah.
still old school, but not, because now, I mean, we used to, you know, surprise, here's your belt.
Yeah.
What did we have? 100 and something people getting promoted
Oh,
last
wow,
time.
yeah.
That doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
We can't.
So you don't do like a computer system or anything. It's more just like you.
No, we do.
Oh,
We
you
know
do
how many-
also.
Yeah, you mean
Meaning,
tracking?
yeah, like tracking
no,
classes.
we have it in our system. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. But still, you get into 100 and something people.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot, and then we have affiliates to consider, and then you know,
Right.
striping we'll do during the year.
Okay.
Belts we'll do once or twice a year.
Cool. Yeah, that
so,
sounds very similar to Webb. Actually, I feel like he does it kind of like that.
Yeah.
Cool. So now moving on to, so you're more the Muay Thai guy.
No,
You-
he does it too.
Oh. What are you? I was gonna
Here,
say.
I'll tell you what Rick doesn't
Yeah,
know.
please tell
Everyone
me.
thinks that I run balance, and I don't.
I don't
Well,
know.
who
Like,
is
they're
it?
like, Phil does all the business
Who
stuff,
is it?
and I'm like, he does everything.
I was gonna say I have heard that.
Yeah, they run it.
I think Kelly runs.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say. The truth
like,
is,
"Oh,
it's
it's
Kelly.
No, but he does all the back end
Really?
financial. Yeah, that's what he really does.
So then,
He
what would you
handles-
say your role is more?
I don't do
so?
anything anymore.
Stop.
Yeah, I really do nothing. I just go in there, show up, train hard, and you know.
He got me Ninja Turtles as a kid when we couldn't afford it. So
Oh, so
Yeah,
nice.
he owes me
So
his
you
whole
owe him
life.
for life.
Yeah.
Well, you do. I heard you do the street fighting class. Is that accurate?
Street Week he has.
Can you pass
Yeah,
some
here you go,
stuff?
Rick.
Hello.
Rick.
Street Week, yeah.
Yes.
So I started that. I was watching Shark Week one week.
Ooh.
I'm very into animal shows, but I was watching Shark Week, and I'm like, man, everybody's getting away from, you know, why they originally walked into the door. For me, why I originally walked in the door, and I feel it's very important to add some sort of striking and some sort of self-defense to jiu-jitsu, because that's
course.
originally what it was intended for. So I'm like, how can I hide the vegetables and the mashed potatoes for these people? Because it's like,
love that.
yeah. So it's like, it's almost like, I know they want to learn it, but how often do people get in street fights?
Yeah.
Not often, so it's not as important
Right.
until something happens. But like the sport, because now elevated, there's a tournament every week. Everybody wants to do sport because you know they're getting ready for something.
Yeah.
And I also use the analogy, it's like, why do we get car insurance? We don't want to get in accident, but we have it just in case. So
Right.
I developed. I just started the first of every month. Wherever that falls on. That would be Street Week, and then in all my classes, I'm going to teach street self-defense, and we go a little bit before. It's not just like grab the neck, go in here, which is all very important, but we get in the nitty-gritty.
That's cool.
And if there's anything that like happened in the world, or if somebody got attacked, I'm watching videos all the time. Maybe I'll bring that to the class or something like that. And I don't make it as, I'm not going to say corny, but some people don't like to just sit there and do the stuff. So I'll have different activities that I'll do. I just actually, I think it was today, the memory came up. And a lot of the guys, this is maybe like 10 years ago, memory came up of a class I did. And some of the guys are in the UFC now.
Oh, cool.
They're in the video. I did a whole, I did a whole class where I had like 30 people in class. And I wanted to do like that surprise. Wait, am I on?
Yeah, you're on.
I'm
Your
on.
mic's hot.
So the class that I was referring to that just popped up was a class. It was like 10 years ago. I had about 30-something people in class, and I spoke to like 4 people in the class. I said, listen, I'm going to give you a signal. I said, I'm going to have the whole class disperse as if they're in an event, a club, a street, talk to each other, conjugate, whatever you guys are doing.
Yeah.
So everybody knew what was going on. Everybody was like, oh, yeah. So I purposely waited a long time to give like the signal, because even though they knew, they started like really talking to each other, and when I felt the room got comfortable, I gave the signal to whoever to attack.
Oh.
So people were like, oh, sure. And I was like, look, the stuff that we did today, you got to at least protect yourself, get away from range, whatever your natural instinct is, because, and I noticed this when I started working in nightclubs, because I was pretty much working at nightclubs at 17, around the same time that I was doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And I've been in plenty of street encounters where, I had to use it. But when you're first using it, you're like, man, how do you get from like being normal to like something happen? There's something that happens in you that can either make you or break you.
100%.
So a lot of people freeze, and that can be what happened. That can be the reason why you either got taken to the ground, or somebody grabbed you, or somebody hit you. So my whole thing was like, man, I want to get rid of this. So working in a nightclub helped me a lot with that, because, you work in there the first night, right? You're like looking around like, man, is anything going to happen? I got to break up. Maybe a fight happens. You get a little nervous. That thing happens. And then after a while, man, I was working for like a year. I remember talking to my buddy Dom. It was his club at the time. He's a good friend of mine. And we were like talking. I remember this like yesterday. We were like talking. Somebody from the upstairs was like, fight. I went, phew. And like I totally got rid of that, and I got right into it.
Yeah.
Fixed it, went right back down. We finished our conversation.
Wow.
So I was like, not everybody can do what I do or be like me, but how can I at least allow people to feel that and be able to react and maybe train that?
Yeah.
Because, to an untrained person, you get a lot of, even females, they're not ready to.
Oh, yeah.
So you got to remember, bad guys, from the moment they get up, already have the intention. They're already ahead of you because they know they want to hurt you or do something bad to you. You're just thinking, I got to brush my teeth. I got to eat breakfast. You don't have that in your mind. So they're already ahead of you with the attack.
Yeah.
Until they meet you, and then they're going, and then you're freezing. So anyway, back to the class. It was so funny because, there was pro fighters in there. There was everything. And people were like, oh, my God, yeah, my heart is racing. Like, I know it was fake.
Right.
I said, but that's what you have to train. I want to train people to be cynical and think that there's going to be something happening to them every day, and then they got to worry about everything.
Yeah.
But be aware.
Of course.
I wake up every day. I'm the happiest guy, but I'm on.
But that's also how we grew up.
Yeah.
In my house, people are like,
yeah.
Shot. You were conditioned.
Yeah. My house now, it's like that. Yeah.
Mine's too quiet.
So how did
my
it?
daughter does it.
She does it too.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I did that with my siblings.
I have 4 kids. One's jumping on my head. I'm like,
Oh yeah, you're conditioned.
I'm almost 46 years old. I'm like dodging
weaving.
dogs, kids, everything.
So how did it go?
How did the class go?
Yeah, how did it go?
Awesome. I do it. I implement stuff like that all the time.
Are you seeing improvement with people's like reaction time?
Yeah, I
and things
do.
like that?
I do. And it's almost like, you can't do it every class, but it's like, look, this is what you guys need to do. If you guys have a problem where you're like nervous, or you think that's going to impede on the actual self-defense that you're learning, because you can be a world champion, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and if you've never gotten a real fight before,
Oh yeah.
I'm not saying to go start a fight,
Or are we?
but it's fun. No, I'm just kidding. But But if you don't know how that feels, then that's a complete. It's like
It's a
people who
different
just hit the
feeling.
bag all day, and then I punch them in the face. Not
No.
me, not me.
Yeah, of
But
course not.
they get punched in the face.
Yeah.
That's totally different.
Oh no, it happened to
It's
me
totally different.
recently. I think
You just got punched in the face.
Yeah, the other day, can't you tell? Daishi like recently just jumped out of like behind a door at the gym.
Yeah.
And my reaction was to just like scream and duck, and I jokingly was like, "Wow, glad I have a great like reaction time. It really saved my life there."
But
Because it's totally different.
You think about it.
Yeah.
And then you start overthinking.
Yeah,
When
I'm
you're
like,
walking
I would
like I
suck.
opened the door for everybody,
Yeah.
and
How
everybody's like, "Oh,
come?
you're such a gentleman." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I don't want
You
them
don't want
having
them-
my back."
Yeah.
So if I see somebody, I'm always talking my hands. My hands are always. I call it the Italian defense.
I was gonna say, you're
because,
Italian,
Yeah,
though,
so
so.
you can I can get away with that. But I'm always talking like this to keep my hands above. Hey, how you doing? Distract them with kindness. Hey, here's the door. Y'all
You're like a
good.
magician.
Less likely. My wife goes out with me. She thinks I'm insane. She's like, "Are you gonna have a good time?" I'm like, "I'm having a blast."
Yeah.
I was like, "Sit right here so I can see everybody." That's
Yeah.
why I'm like, "Where are your pit bulls?"
Yeah. They're in the basement
Okay,
right
they're
now.
in the basement. They're
Yeah.
quiet.
3 of them.
But
Yeah.
but it's great. Like doing classes like that, I think are important. And I mean, I get good feedback. I feel like they're having fun.
Yeah. No, it sounds great.
And it goes back into the analogy hiding the vegetables and the mashed
I
potatoes
love
for these
that.
guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's like,
I did that as a kid.
This is great. But you're at the same time, I'm teaching you how to defend yourself, and this is something that you could take with you.
Yeah.
Teach your kids. My kids. I have 4 kids. I have 3 daughters, 1 son.
Mm-hmm.
My oldest, is super talented, super athletic.
Mm-hmm.
She's strong as hell. She was so good at jiu-jitsu, but the girls kind of veer away. Even the boys, but my son has to do it.
Mm-hmm.
My rule is this: you have to learn self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do what Daddy does.
Yeah.
You don't have to train every day.
Yeah.
I need 20 matches just to feel
Right.
good. You don't have to do that.
compete.
That's not your thing. Fine. But this is like me telling you to eat healthy. This is like me
Yes.
telling you to go to school. This is like me telling you to be polite, be a gentleman, be a good person or whatever. You have to have something, and you have to stay fit and aware.
Yeah.
I said that's all you have to do. I said you have to do it.
Yeah.
But so they do that. So if people come for like one class or like or maybe we do like a seminar for women's self-defense, that's something.
Yep.
But at the same time, you have to. I mean, I'm a true believer, and you have to revisit this stuff. And I think in Philly, I think this year we had a good year because unfortunately there's violence.
Yes. Yeah.
And people don't. I don't know if they're just blind to it. They don't want to believe it, or they just whatever, or they don't want to call it out. I'm like,
Right.
watch your ass. And everybody thinks that this stuff is new. Like, oh my God, there's so much violence now.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm 46.
Yeah.
You just haven't seen it.
100%.
I grew up in South Philly. I know before cameras, before phones, before anything. I visually seen it.
Yeah.
While most people were at home, they saw
Right.
like a few things on the news. Like, oh my God. I'm like,
Yeah.
if you only knew.
It's social media lets you see it more.
Not only
often,
that, but
it's there.
and then there is a lot more lenience with people who are attacking people. So to me, and I see it. I don't care if anybody says otherwise. I see it, and
Yeah.
it's not that there's more bad people.
Yeah.
It's that the lenience is allowing these people to come out
Yeah.
and do it again
I
because
see.
there's no
Like
slap on the wrist,
repercussions, Yeah.
which goes back to that guy
Yep.
that I had to encounter
Jason.
2 days ago, Jason. Yeah, David. The cops were calling him David. But it's like this guy. Imagine going around being like maybe he's mentally ill. Maybe he just has
Yeah.
drug who knows. Whatever the
Right.
case may be, 99% of the day, his tactics work. Like
yeah.
and I was like okay, and
Yeah, it's terrifying.
it's like a dog. A dog. That's how dogs build like
Yeah.
confidence. And they go away. Oh, I just did that.
Yeah.
And then you meet the 1%er.
Yeah.
And then,
Big,
luckily,
big dog.
Well, yeah, I don't bite.
You let them choose.
Not on camera, I don't bite. I make sure. Yeah, I let them choose. That's
I
right.
love that.
But that's just like one of those things, and that's why, and it all comes into like self-defense is really important. If you're not throwing strikes with your jiu-jitsu at least once a week, I say
Yeah.
you're doing yourself a
That's spread
disservice.
all around the world, which is funny. There are other gyms.
Keep
Oh
it.
yeah, no other gyms around the world that
Yeah.
adopted because of his following online.
Oh, really?
That they do like a street week.
street week now.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
and super like there are some schools that are super sporty that they would never throw a punch in. Like really focus on
Yeah.
the sport. Now they do. It's kind of cool.
That is really cool. So not to get too down the rabbit hole with this
Yeah.
next comment I'm going to make, but do you do anything with either of you with like weapons, like as far as like teaching how to like disarm a weapon or anything like that?
I mean, we have. I mean, there's techniques within jiu-jitsu like
Yeah.
that. I'm fascinated with weapons
Yeah.
and knife fighting, but
Mm-hmm.
I've been that way since Maxercise. We had a guy,
yeah,
the Kyer brothers, and one of my buddies who was my lawyer. They choreographed it. They helped out with the movie The Hunted.
Okay.
So anyway, it's like a
Yeah,
huge.
yeah.
So I'm like fascinated with knives and knife because if you think about it, I mean, I know guns are an issue,
Of course.
but knives are a bigger
God,
issue
yeah, 'cause
because
you can
people
conceal them.
and people can carry knives or some sort of sharp. So
Mm-hmm.
to be able to defend that and to be able to use those, I've always been fascinated. I never claim to be an expert.
Right.
I'm a student. Same thing
Yeah.
in jiu-jitsu. I'm a student. I love it. I got good at it. Great. I can pass something on, but you're never an expert in anything. So I was going to actually do this as a video in search of like the best or like a good knife defense or what do you
Yeah.
actually do? Because there's so many things, so many different defenses out there.
Yeah.
That's like, man, and then knife people are like, they're more insane than jiu-jitsu
it also
people.
has a lot to do with the technology because I was joking. Oh, here. I was joking with one of my friends, a military guy, who went through the Gracie self-defense system
Yeah.
and another knife fighting system. But I said, what if the technology changes where you have a knife on top and knife on bottom? How do you defend that?
Oh.
He's like, wait, what do you
He's
mean?
like,
I
"Oh,
was like,
shit."
a knife isn't just up. You can hold
Yeah,
it upside
you can
down.
go
It
up-
could have two blades. It could have a. I'm like, you have to adapt with technology. How do you deal with that? Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
This is all planned. This is all planned. This actually happened in I lived I was actually stabbed last night in Haddon no big deal. In Haddon Township where I used to live, there was a guy down the
Violent
street.
there.
Very violent. We're known for our violence. There was a guy that owned, I think it was like a deli or something, and a kid came in, asked if he could work there. He was like, "No, I'm not hiring." The kid stole the change jar off the counter, ran out the door. The owner comes out, chases him on foot because you're thinking it's a young kid. He was like 17, 18. The kid stabbed him to death. Killed him right on the spot.
Haddon.
Crazy.
Did you ever see stab? Hold on, Did you ever see stab wounds? And I see.
I mean, just with
I
animals.
look stuff up. I'm watching videos constantly.
Yeah.
But I'm not a sicko.
Your
It's
search
my
history
job.
is wild.
But you know the reason why I watch these videos because I almost want to watch it not for what happens, but because the technology out there, you can see what happens before. So my whole thing
Right.
is like, how did he get close?
Yes.
What was he or she doing to allow that and stuff like that. But knives are, the best thing someone can do that has a knife is show you that they have a knife.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Because
you know where it
man,
is at
I've
least.
seen some things where they just go, boop, and then it's
Yeah,
like, and you
it's
see them,
scary.
they're like lively, and then all of a sudden it's like, I think they call them timers and bleed outs or something like that.
Yep.
But I got a story. You want to hear a story about knife?
Of course I do.
All right. So it was when Noah was working at Rouge. Remember this one?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So I was done bouncing. I had so many encounters. I had stuff happen. I was like, I'm so done with this. I'm done. I'm just going to do jiu-jitsu. So one of our good friends, and he's one of our black belts, he was working in Center City, Philadelphia, and he had to go away for jiu-jitsu. I think it was either a tournament or something like that. So he was like calling around asking for somebody to like cover for him because he was like the head of security at this Rouge, which is like what it is, like it's like an upscale,
Yeah,
thing in
sounds-
Center City, right near Rittenhouse Square.
Oh, okay.
So it was uppity up, and he finally calls me, and I'm like, dude, I don't want to do this. I was like, I don't want to go back, and I don't want to do it. Oh, please. So finally, he convinces me to go. I said, all right. I said, what's going to happen at Rouge? What's going to happen at these places? Nothing. So all I had to do was stand outside and make sure nobody accosted the customers and panhandlers, stuff like that, like little things. Well, of course, then the weekend that I'm there, you got like Hell's Angels are coming. Everybody's like, it's all like sorts of people coming. So long story short, I'm standing across the street at the park. I'll paint the picture for you. The two restaurants which are related are right across the street. And I'm just looking. It's a beautiful night out. My buddy's with me, with Santo. And we're talking. And then I just hear somebody walking up behind us, and he's like kind of talking like about, I heard a lot of Jesus, so it was religious. And he's like, and I turn around, and he's like this big biker dude with like no shirt on, but he had a leather vest.
Okay. Yeah.
And he was just like, he was he was a character.
Okay.
So I'm looking and I'm listening to him. And I'm like, oh man, I'm thinking in my head, please God, please just let him pass. I don't care what he does. Just don't let him go to these two.
Yeah.
Now, as I'm saying that, he's passing us and he goes, I'm going to stab these people.
Oh, hell no.
So now I always try to approach it with levity first.
Of course, yeah.
Because if I can come down with levity, oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So I said, sir, I said, can you do me a favor? And he turns around. He's like, his eyes are, I was like, could you not stab anybody?
You just gotta ask, you know?
No, and I'm trying to be like, because you kind of feel him out. Like, is he going to laugh or go away? Or
Yeah.
is he going to think I'm crazy? Whatever.
Yeah.
Just whatever. However I can de-escalate the situation
course.
without getting physical.
Yep.
Well, he turns to me.
Oh, God.
And I'll never forget this. He goes, what do you own the street? So again, I try to hit him with levity. I say, wow, I did. I just purchased the street today. I said, they're actually going to put my picture in here. Now Santo's like there, like nervous because he knows how I am, but I'm
Yeah.
not like, I'm really trying to de-escalate this
Yeah.
thing. Well, he goes, what? Like he didn't know what to do. Now, mind you, there's these people, you know, with their suits on first
Yeah,
dates. They
fancy.
can't really hear the interaction because there's a street, but they can see.
Yeah.
So this guy rips a knife out.
Oh, God.
So he goes, what? Now I see the knife.
Yeah.
Now I have napkins in one hand and I have like a bottle in the other hand, not a plastic bottle of water. And I back up and I actually get in between, like naturally got in between my buddy and the guy because my buddy he didn't train jiu-jitsu or anything. He was just there hanging out.
Yeah.
I was good. I just need company.
Bad day.
Yeah, he was like, Rick, what are we going to do? I said, you're not going to do anything. So now the guy's like here. So I'm thinking, man, I can't rush him.
Yeah.
You can't clinch.
Yeah.
You almost gotta play the distance game.
Yeah.
So he's like squaring up with me. Now nobody sees this guy has a knife. So I'm bigger than the guy.
Yeah.
So you just see me, and I guess I look like a bully.
Yeah. And a crazy half.
And now I'm squared off, so I throw the napkins in his face. So he
smart.
does this, and bop, I kick him.
Yeah.
So I kick him, goes down, doesn't drop the knife, pops right back up like a Smurf.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh my God. So then I hit him with water. I did it 3 times.
Yeah,
I hit him
wow.
with water. He's like battling. I never battling with
He's
the water with the
resilient.
knife. And then I kick him again.
Okay.
Because I couldn't, again, I had to keep
Yeah.
my range. This is where like Muay Thai and the jiu-jitsu kicks come in.
Yeah.
Falls again. I'm catching him clean, by the way. He's like walking. I'm like, man, I wish this was on film. The second time I threw the bottle at him, kicked him again. So I'm like, what the hell? So thank God he gets up. He was mentally ill for sure.
Yeah.
Gets up. He goes, and he stabs the tree.
Oh.
So as soon as I saw the knife go into the boom, I clinch him. I picked him up. Bam, slam
Yeah.
him. I get on him. I didn't even smack him. He gave me his back trying to get up. And
Yeah.
whoop, I put him in.
Nice.
Now, he goes out.
Okay.
You do jiu-jitsu, you know.
Yep.
Put him out nicely. It only lasts, what, a couple seconds.
Yeah.
He's back up.
Yeah.
So I put him out, and I'm like, so the owner comes over. He goes, what's going on? What's going on? Because I just met this guy. Remember,
Yeah.
I don't work
Yeah.
there. It was my buddy's place. I go, listen. I said, can you do me a favor? Just call the cops. He goes, okay. I said, call the cops. So he goes back, and then I have some other guy. He kept coming over because I say first date because I feel like he was trying to impress the
Yeah.
woman. He was like, excuse me, sir. I think that's what he sounded like. Excuse me, sir. Could you please stop this? We're getting a little upset. And I'm like, I said, could you call the cops? He goes, "Duh." And then before he even said, I said, listen. I said, you see that knife that's in the tree? That was almost in the back of your girlfriend's head. I was like, so go over there and finish your Chianti. And as he's doing this, I must have choked the guy out like 4 or 5 times.
Oh, he kept waking up and you kept choking him?
Yeah, he was like, oh, wait. But the best part is all of a sudden he was normal. So he's like, wait, no. I was like, oh, you were talking about Jesus. And then I put him out. So finally I'm like, man, my arms are getting tired.
Yeah, right?
And I was like, if I got to fight this guy again, I'm going to be mush. So I whispered something in his ear. I said, I'm going to let you up. I said, if you even look at me, I said, you're dead.
Yeah.
So, I was going to.
Yeah.
But enough to like get him up. So he gets up and he scatters on. I'm like, thank God.
Oh, there you go.
So finally the cops come. So I actually said, I didn't even know if this was true. I said, yeah, there's the knife. I said, he goes, okay, we're going to go look for him. I said, he might have another knife on him.
Yeah, well, you don't
Like
know.
I lied. Well, they get him. They bring him back to me. I'm like, he goes, you want to press charge? No, I don't want to press charge. I said, get him away from me. He goes, he did have another knife on him.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
What is up with this dude?
He had
Who
another
is he?
knife. He was prepared.
Yeah, he was prepared.
Yeah, he was like, if I'm going to stick this one in a tree, this one's going in that guy.
Yeah.
But he's got great kicks. But
Oh, That's amazing.
Yeah, that was one of our. Remember the guy in California pulled the knife on? Oh no!
No, he took the.
Yeah.
This is.
Oh, do you want to tell that one?
Yeah,
I'm very
try to make
excited.
this one quick. All right, fight stories by the Migliareses.
Yeah, I like this.
So you have to.
I'm excited.
You
for
have to
this.
understand the nature of our day there too. We were going in 7 a.m, training jiu-jitsu, teaching class. This is at the Gracie Academy
Okay.
in Redondo Beach. We were,
Nice.
yeah, and there were like people around Cali knew the jiu-jitsu people.
Yeah.
It wasn't as big as it is now, but it was pretty big there.
Right.
And we would go to. It was called Fresh Fields at the time, Whole Foods.
Oh.
Yeah, it was called
no shit.
Fresh Fields at the time, and so we would go there every once in a while, and then like smoothies and stuff like that. That's what we
Yeah.
get. So we went there one day, and the guy was like verbal and harassing you. He would just this dude would bark for some reason because we were jujitsu.
He almost hit you with the truck.
Is that what it was? Oh, that's
He forgets. He's old. He's old.
yeah, see, I put him out of my head because I don't.
No, so this is what I saw.
Yeah,
Cause
he's gonna contact you now. He's like, "You're my lawyer."
no, we already bumped into him again after that.
I'm gonna get
That
served.
the story crazy. So we were walking in the parking lot, and we were behind you. It was Gary Banner was there. I think it was Jen and you and I. And he didn't like how slow you were going.
Oh.
See, Phil's like a hippie yogi, so he walks in like,
Right.
yeah, man.
Rush.
Yeah, he's never rushed. So
Yeah.
the guy was in a truck, and he like revved his thing and went right past. Well, he almost hit him. So Phil just backed up and kind of like hit his mirror, but almost just to get him out of the way. Oh, I
Yeah.
remember. I saw it. And the guy, I remember, stops because he hit his mirror, but he was literally just doing it to get out of the way, and opens the door halfway. So we didn't even get. You didn't even get mad at that. We were like, no, we don't want any problems. We were like, we just want a
Yeah.
coffee.
Right.
So I remember he has his head out, and I was like, listen, we don't have a problem. I said, and he said something, and I had a short fuse back then, so I'll give you the pro-choice.
Okay. There we go.
I let you choose. I'm going to be nice to you first, and then I remember I front kicked the door because it was halfway out, and I went ba-boom, and then it closed the door, and then he just sped off. And I was like, good. And then you can take it from there.
Wait, real quick. This man worked at Whole Foods?
No, he
No,
was.
no,
in,
he was
we
just
were.
driving through.
He was
We
just
were
always there?
walking
Okay.
there to get coffee. I think either to go to the academy or something. It was just near our house. Yeah.
But
yeah,
you
yeah.
saw him
Oh.
often, you're saying, right?
No.
Well, no. The reason why I know that.
Oh.
Here,
Yeah.
The reason why I know that he was there often is because what happened after.
Okay,
So
okay, I'm
I'll
ready.
explain that.
Foreshadowing. Okay.
But, yeah. So he was belligerent, but he came back,
Okay.
and then he's yapping, but he was focused on him the whole time, not me for
It's
some
the ears.
reason. Yeah, he wants the big guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no cauliflower ear, but he was barking, and it escalated, and then this dude picks up. So if you get so there were tables there with
Yeah.
umbrellas,
Right.
right? So he took the umbrella part off, took the other piece with the hook on it, a pipe,
What?
and was going after him.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and the guy's yelling, and he was getting a little wild. And then me in my head, I'm seeing my little, he's a big giant.
Yeah, your
he's
big
my
little
little brother.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, what are we doing with this guy?
Yeah.
If we both beat his butt, it's gonna look terrible. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And so I say, like, he's keeping his distance. He's away. The guy's not gonna touch him.
Yeah.
And I go, all right. It's like, all right, I'm just gonna go call the police. And I was like, I'm just gonna walk around him. I'm just gonna go call the police. I want this to end. And I walk around him. And then he goes, all right, cool, like this. And then at that moment, I fucking grab him. Yeah.
He went in the air.
Dude, yeah.
You know, when you
Yeah.
had him in the air and you turned him upside down, I was grabbing the pipe.
Yeah,
out
to
of his
take the
hand.
pipe out of his hand.
And there was I remember there was a parked car. And then his head got wedged between the tire. I don't know how that happened. And the concrete.
Yeah. See, I've always liked wrestling, so
Yeah, I
like,
see that.
amplitude will like solve
But
problems.
this was impulsive. You were originally not going to do anything, and then you're like, forget
no,
that.
I was gonna do something.
Oh,
to
you
him.
were.
If he escalated like that,
Okay.
I wake
were
up.
down.
Yeah.
Great, man. He was like,
People always say about me, like, basically, like, I'm calm.
I was gonna say that's the ones you have to
until I'm
worry
not.
about.
Until I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
We know what to expect with Rick a little more.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to do any of that. I'm
Yeah.
like, there's really no
But you have your
advantage.
limits.
But he's gonna hit him because I know he's going to be mad just to punch him in the face to take up. He'll take the pipe to hit him.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want him to do that.
Give me a pipe.
And just to beat the guy down. Yeah, so flipped him, and then basically right after he was already on top, I backed off, and it
Yeah.
was just him.
You let him finish.
Yeah, kind of arm.
Wait a minute, that's your go-to.
What's that? The bomb?
I've seen you. I just thought when you said flip them, I went through 3 fights.
Oh yeah, I
but
threw them on their
more
heads.
than one person.
Yeah.
What I'm witnessing on the outside is the legs coming out.
Yeah, I threw one of the biggest humans, like that I've ever seen, like at Glam.
Oh yeah.
Some guy was just going around. This guy, without exaggeration, about 7 feet tall. Like he was huge, wearing a tank top in a club, going up to people like, "What's up?" in their faces. Like we could see him
Hate that.
easily because he was the biggest guy in there. I'm like,
It's just a
I'm
head.
like, I'm thinking like I'm not gonna have to deal with him.
Yeah.
They'll figure that out. And then, so we were upstairs. Like I never really went to nightclubs. We were just sitting there because our friend owned the
worked
there.
place. He worked there, and we're just sitting. We weren't drinking.
Yeah.
It was me and my cousin Frank. And then the guy walks by us while we're sitting, and he goes, "What's up?" to like my cousin, who is, has a similar. No, he has a worse temper. Yeah, that's the last. He's the last dude you want to mess with.
Yeah.
He's 4th degree black
Yeah.
belt, wrestling his whole life.
Nice.
Sweetest human, but
Yeah, you don't want to do
that's
that.
the last dude, right? So this is the funny part. He gets in his face and like is aggressive, and Frank was like, "What is this guy?" Like
Like,
it
yeah,
came
like-
out of nowhere. It confused him, but it got me thoroughly upset. Because I'm thinking, like, he's messing with my cousin. He doesn't even realize this guy is messing, like, he's being
Yeah,
aggressive
yeah,
at that
yeah.
moment. And then I get up, and then he's already down the hall. And I stand up, but he turns around. He's like, "What's up with you? You want some of this?" Starts, like, running at me. And I'm
no.
like, all right, I'll take a little bit,
Yeah.
Dude, and I put my head up so he sees my face. I went right under him. Picked him up, dude. I was so mad, angry. The only thing I could have done with this human, I was trying to throw him out the window. Like, I swear, that's how mad I was. I was so mad. It's bad. I don't want to be like
You
that.
don't understand. He disappears. You disappear in a nightclub.
Yeah.
It's dark.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he goes, huh? And he goes, poof.
And you
And
go
there's just
under.
a 7-foot tall man in
Yeah.
the air.
I can see the guys like, "Ah!"
He was huge.
Was it crowded?
It was mildly crowded
Like,
in
where
that
did you
hallway,
throw
but people
him?
were moving for him.
Oh,
So there
okay.
was they gave him a runway.
Great.
And I stood up because I didn't want to get caught like I am right now, sitting down with
Right.
a giant aggressive person.
Of
like I
course.
said, when I tell you how big he was huge.
yeah, please.
So I tried to dump him out the window because I'm like, this is gonna I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Because it was a tight hallway, but I had him up in the air and I was about to either like throw him on the
Yeah.
floor or out the window, and it got so hard to hold him. I didn't know what was happening. It was like very awkward. But my cousin was ripping him out of my
Oh,
hands. 'cause
no.
He didn't like the fact that I like stood up.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Oh,
I'm the relaxed dude,
I
and then I
see.
got like aggressive because I got protective of my family.
Right.
Open my
Yeah, he
door.
was like,
So
yeah,
yeah.
So he put,
So
pretty
Frank's
much
like,
took
I'll-
this
I'll take
giant
it
out of
from
my hands,
here.
jumped on his back, and gave him, a good
Yeah.
sleep.
Oh,
And that's when I came in.
Yeah, and then Rick came in, but
Don't
he was
mess with the
so
family.
big.
No. I had to nobody wanted to
He
touch-
looked like a
touch my
peanut.
cousin.
Dude,
They're
my
like, "You need to
cousin-
come and get your cousin." I'm like, what's going on?
But they said he looked like a backpack.
He was.
Like a high backpack on this dude's back that he was so giant. Yeah.
that's
We
insane.
call that fight Dora.
Oh,
We name all our fights that we got.
No, but and then after that, like it went down, but I didn't know what else to do. I'm like, I was just aggressive, and now I'm
Yeah.
not. And the
Yeah.
dude, but the dude's friends were there, and they were like, no.
the friends weren't even like helping him.
No,
Nobody wanted.
they didn't want.
Well,
to,
after seeing that, I would also
Our
be like,
cousin's
hell
not
no.
small.
no, he's not.
He's a big
small at all.
dude.
But
This guy was
compared
Was
to
like 7 feet tall.
I'm 6'2".
Yeah.
This dude was almost
Huge.
7 feet tall. Just huge, muscular dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just so confident or on drugs.
That's probably the first time somebody put him in his place too, which is what's crazy.
Yeah, but his after, like we found out a little bit about him after, and he,
Yeah,
his
actually,
life didn't
Not
go
a great
well.
person.
No, definitely not.
Mm.
Anyway, so that's a fun story of
It's a good
like
story of
flank,
Dora.
Sort of going under people.
Dora
But
the
yeah,
Explorer.
even like when I was a kid, I was just learning jiu-jitsu, or I learned a little judo online. In some of the fights, I just went under him, held him under, and just right
Dumped
upside
him.
down. Yeah.
Yeah.
dumped him in the
You're
head.
not pro-choice. You just always go for the wrestling
I'm
pickup.
pro-choice in that you decide, like Rick said, you decide how it's going to happen.
You're either gonna meet the nice one, or you're gonna meet
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a nice one.
that's what I said. I was like, I could turn that switch on. Even competing when I was young, competing, you know, like you don't see that many videos of me in competition, sport competition. You know, like there are a couple out there, but I competed when the cameras were that big.
Right.
You know, like you would have to really carry that thing to like get the match. So
Two guys,
a
one
lot
guy
of the
carrying wire.
yeah, a lot of the stuff is lost. But my point is, my behavior before. I'm just chilling. I'm like talking to people.
Yeah, you didn't
like
want
some people are like running around. I'm like
Right.
mellow until I'm not. I can go in there, do my job for 5 to 10 minutes.
I saw this
And
guy
then-
disappear. And like I'll never forget the fight that was going on upstairs. Remember I crowd surfed everybody down?
Wait, what?
So-
he's security in nightclub.
Yeah, I don't do this
and our friend's
for fun.
nightclub. And
Yeah.
stuff happens.
So there's a second floor, and I think it was a UFC that night, and you guys were in the back, and you were with Dom, and I forget, maybe Prioli was there. So that's how far back goes. I'm upstairs, and there's a huge fight.
Yeah.
So I'm in, yeah.
Coming down, yeah.
So they were on the steps, and these guys are fighting with each other, and I'm like, it was just me up there. So
Yeah.
there's like a little ledge, and they were fighting on the steps. So I jumped over the ledge. I grabbed the one guy and the other guy, and I'm on, like, my feet didn't touch the ground.
Yeah.
There's 13 steps. I
Yeah.
didn't touch one step. So now I'm kind of like, they're falling down the steps, but I'm like
Yeah, you're riding the
I'm
wave.
crowd surfing them down because I'm trying to get these two from not fighting.
Right.
So as soon as my feet hit the ground, perfectly by the way.
Yeah,
Like
wow.
I didn't fall or
Beautiful.
twist anything. I hit the one guy with my ass on my back, and then I shoved this guy. Now when I shoved
It's like a
him,
movie.
he must have saw
saw the guy
the
going
interaction. He was already, and then what Dom describes is you just got, as you were running, you got lower and lower and lower. So when I pushed the guy, I thought a train hit him. I went, and then he went, and I was like, and then you threw him into, I guess it was the Eagles. Were the Eagles there?
yeah.
He threw him into the table, smashed the table. I think it was the Philadelphia Eagles were there. No, it wasn't. The players were sitting.
Right.
Because you smashed a bunch of crystal. And I just remember that. And then I turned around, and the other guy was just like this. I was like, all right, so it's over.
Yeah.
You guys live in like a Bruce Lee movie.
Yeah.
Well, it's young.
Young.
stuff.
Yeah, and then you got to remember, too, if anything happens in a nightclub, I'm involved.
Of course, yeah.
And you're hearing the 1% because
Oh, yeah.
I have calmed down.
Oh yeah, I'm not judging. I think it's amazing.
99% of, even on the street, I've calmed down way more.
Yeah.
But those stories aren't really cool.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, not. Well, I have
Yeah.
one more story I need to ask you about specifically.
Oh, wow.
I heard there was.
Let me call my lawyer real quick. Make
was-
sure I can talk about this again.
Was there a story about you fighting Russians in a basement?
With Whacker, the sambo thing.
Oh, did Mike ask you?
Actually, this was Kelly.
Oh, Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the, so
I want to talk about this too because I
Yeah.
wasn't there.
2008, I think it was, because I got my black belt in 2000, the end of 2004, beginning of 2005. I say that because when Helson came to give it to me, it was 2004, and then he didn't bring my certificate, but we had the bound certificate, and then he mailed me one in 2000. So everybody's like, "Did you get it in 2004, 2005?" But anyhow,
Yeah.
not too far after that, I think I got third in the Pan Ams as a black belt, and then right after that, I snapped my knee. My PCL snapped in half. I was like, "What the hell?" But I competed in like 17 world-renowned tournaments that year as a brown belt,
Right.
and I was torquing my knee here and there, but I didn't know anything about ligaments because I never tore anything.
Yeah.
And it finally went, and I had like up till 2000, well, it took like a year, and then around 2008, I was back on the map. But I don't like tournaments. I never did. I forced myself to do them. I think they're great. I just they're not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did as many as I did,
Yeah.
but I didn't have fun. So I get just training with my students, which I was fine with. That's all I wanted to do. And then I think I was taking some guys to the Delaware tournament. And then they had a pro. They had a spot in the pro division that needed to be filled. So all my students that haven't even seen me, oh, you should do it. So fast forward,
Yeah.
I fight, I win the whole pro.
Nice.
My buddy in Chim Chim, Justin Garcia.
Okay.
Yeah, he got Mike Wacker and all them.
Oh,
He calls me right away. He goes, "You're back competing?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "No." He goes, "I got this thing with Russia Sambo versus Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu over here. And I'm like, what? It sounded like he was explaining it. It sounded like a
Right.
movie. But if you don't know Chim, he's very convincing.
Yeah, I don't know.
So he's like, no, you just come down here. And blah, blah. And it's like, so basically, I agreed to it. And I was like, fuck. I go all the way down to, what is Little Russia in New York? Is it Brigantine? What is it called?
I don't know.
Brighton Beach, I think it was. So it was in, like we have Little Italy in Philly.
Yeah.
It was in like Little Russia, so I
Russia.
was told.
Okay.
I get there. And the way the team worked, like Mike Wacker was in there and a couple other people, and then it was me and Kevin Lutz were the same size.
Okay.
Our team versus their team might have been 7, 8 versus 8. I don't know. I forget how many people were there. So there was 2 guys, me and Lutz happened to be like a blue or purple belt back then, but he was like a good wrestler. So he was, and I'm fighting up a weight. I'm
Right.
fighting like 220, 230
Right after
pounds
surgery.
right after
Yeah,
surgery. So
wow.
I was like, agreed to this. So now there's 2 heavyweights on their side that I have to say, which one am I fighting?
Right.
So I'm looking up the one guy's name. He's like, Givi, I don't even know. I was like, I can't find anything on this guy. And then I see the other guy, and I'm like, oh, he won Naga, he won this, he won that. I'll fight that guy.
Yeah.
So the owner, I think his name was Boris.
Yeah.
He was like their Elio Gracie
Okay.
of like Sambo. I remember him coming in the room. Now we got there like 9 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't fight till 9 at night.
Oh.
Yeah, I was there a long time.
That's a long day.
So he comes in the room. He goes, no. He goes, you fight him. Like they already had it planned
Oh.
because they heard I was a black belt.
Okay.
They were big on, they wanted their black belt to fight the jiu-jitsu black belt because they wanted to prove like that would be
point.
the ultimate. And let me tell you something, these guys were good.
Okay.
I was super impressed with the Sambo throws. It was like better than judo throws.
Yeah.
And I was worried about leg locks only because of my
Knee, yeah.
and I'm like, oh, Sambo's, all you hear. And I didn't see one leg lock. Like, there wasn't
I
a
was
lot of
gonna say,
leg
what
locks. I think
is-
the jiu-jitsu guys did more leg locks.
What is the main difference between the 2?
It's just different rules. It's
Okay.
grappling's grappling. I feel like it's all the same. They have different rules. They have different emphasis on certain things. Like, we're big on the guard.
Mm-hmm.
Their rules are like, you take them to the ground. I think it was like 1 minute on the ground, then they stand you back up. I think they deal with a lot more with the throws.
Okay.
From what I gather, it's like it's very different, but at the end of the day, you're grappling,
very
you're
similar.
doing locks, you're doing this.
Okay.
So I was the last fight, of course, and some jiu-jitsu guys lost and not won. But it happened to be that my fight was the deciding factor of whether jiu-jitsu.
Oh,
so
it's
it
like
was.
tied.
This
Great.
was
No
this
pressure.
was actually in retrospect. Like it was a fun tournament in
Yeah.
retrospect because I was like, because
This whole thing to me, I wasn't there.
Yeah.
But I think it was mildly downplayed too. Him like he's like, nah, I'm gonna go to this thing. It's like not a big deal. Like I
Yeah.
was like, you sure? Because at that time, one of us had to be at the gym teaching and all.
Right.
I was like, you sure? He's like, yeah, it's not. I don't even think it's anything, And then they throw him with this dude.
Yeah.
yeah, and then the guy,
Meanwhile,
it's
Russia.
like I was like, I don't know who this guy is. So finally, my fight comes. It's online.
Oh, I can't wait.
Oh yeah.
cannot
When
wait.
you hear them announce his name, you hear them announce my name, you go, ah. Like I had a lot of.
Yeah.
What was cool too is like a lot of guys from other affiliations came out to support me,
That's cool.
and it just shows how like jiu-jitsu. It's
Yeah,
like,
very
oh no, this is jiu-jitsu now versus.
Yeah.
It's not like my academy versus academy, which
Yeah.
is always a friendly like competition, I think.
Yeah, of course.
So it was cool in that manner. And then when they introduced me, everybody's like, yeah. When they introduced him, I thought the president of the United States walked in. I'm like, who the hell is this guy, man? I was like, well, he was like a Georgian world champ or whatever. And he was like
Okay.
30 pounds heavier than me.
Wait,
You see?
four-time world champ.
Yeah,
Holy
something.
crap.
Yeah, something.
And no one, so you
What
were
do
not
it
prepared
after?
for this man at all? Like, they didn't,
I mean, I'm always prepared.
but I mean, like, they didn't, like, give you any type
No,
of,
I didn't know who I was fighting. I thought I was just
The
fighting.
hell?
I don't think they knew. I don't think Chim knew who was
Gotcha.
coming. They just knew they're bringing their team. We're bringing our team. We're bringing a team. He
Crazy.
got a team together from all different
Yeah.
academies, and that's how we did it.
yeah.
And luckily enough, if you watch the fight, and I'll give you
Cannot
the back end of it. If you watch us when we first engaged, I was like, oh, he's strong, but I don't think he considered how strong I was because he's bigger than me. You
Yeah.
see his legs. I got skinny legs, but his legs were like 3 of mine.
Yeah.
It was crazy. He goes to do a throw.
Uh-huh.
He throws me because when he stepped behind my leg, it was my bad leg. And I actually, if I would have fought that, like tried to fight it, I bet you I would have hurt my knee again. I just went with it, went to the
Yeah.
ground, and I was underneath him, and I'm pushing, and I'm trying to get an arm, and I hear his shoulder, something went, and I was like, because I was just so strong. I was just like,
You're
this
squeezing
motherfucker.
him like a watermelon.
No, I had my arm underneath his armpit, and I'm just like pushing. So
yeah.
when we get up, I only knew he was like it made a difference when I saw the video, because I turn around and walk to my end because they stand you
Gotcha.
back up.
Yeah.
And then as he's going back, he's like doing this with his arm. I get a hold of him again, and I actually, because he was trying to go over my back like he did before, and I put my hand right into his like his shoulder, I remember, just to stop the throw. And then we went to the ground. We got to the ground. I put an arm lock on him, and then when he stood up, I let it go because I didn't want to, like, again, I was like, man, I don't want to mess around my knee. And I finally got the triangle, but I didn't tap him with the triangle. I tapped him with the arm bar.
Oh.
So I get the triangle. And
Arm
he
bar
goes,
from the triangle.
Yeah, his arm snapped.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. His arm was like, it sounded like that bottle. No, he wasn't going to snap. Well, he yelped. He did, and they stopped it.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
And I jumped up like,
up.
thank God. I don't ever want to do this again.
And were they cool people afterwards?
I would never know because I just saw money getting thrown around. I saw like smoking.
Oleg Taktarov there?
Oleg Taktarov was the guy's coach.
Huh. And were
He put the medal on me.
no shit.
Oleg, yeah, he was,
Damn.
yeah, but I didn't stick around. I was like, get out of here.
Yeah, was it a little sketchy?
Oh, I was, yeah. I was like, I don't have my gun. I don't have anything. I said, I'm out. I said, let's
And
go.
When was this, roughly?
I think it was 2008, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Did you get paid for that? Was it like a
No.
paid thing?
No.
Yeah, it was.
That's the other thing. All you jiu-jitsu guys get paid now for what you do. I was like, I had to pay to compete.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to pay for everything.
Yeah.
I think about like all the money that we put through in our education, going to the Gracie Academy. People don't realize we had to pay monthly for the Gracie
Yeah.
Academy. And we got like a little break because we did whatever. And then we had to move out there. We paid
It's
rent.
a lot.
I mean, we probably paid over $1 million just for education and going like between everything. I'm not
Yeah.
even kidding you. The amount of time and we actually set aside a period to go to like a college to learn how to teach.
That's cool.
Now people are just like, I'm going to get my blue belt
Interesting.
and then I'm going to open up a school and teach. And that's okay with people,
Yeah.
you know? And look, then there's some people who win the world's, and they open up a gym and they don't understand how to teach.
100%.
And then I can't convey a move to you,
Yep.
and what good am I to you other than a cool story?
Yeah.
Like, hey, I got a world champion. Most people don't know what the heck I do. Like most people who walk in, they don't know what I accomplished or what I did,
course,
and what, they don't really care at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, especially if they're new to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, they want to
have
be
no
good.
idea.
They
have
want to
no
be good,
freaking
right?
clue.
Most people don't walk in, and
Yeah.
most people do not know how to shop for
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So there's
I got
so
lucky.
much. There's
Oh, yeah?
there's so much. Yeah, there's so much. There are so many jiu-jitsu schools now that somebody can just put a picture of him with Hickson, and and then people are like, no, it's a Gracie. This is good. Oh, he's with the UFC fighter, and it's like that's how people shop online.
Yep.
So anybody can make a website look pretty and stuff like that. We're lucky enough. We started from the very beginning.
Yeah.
We were there. The lineage will never be for us a problem.
Yeah.
But if you're looking in the future, like we actually help our students. If any of our students want to open up a gym or something like that, so we actually encourage it.
Yeah.
Obviously encourage it to do it the right way.
Of course.
Because in business and I think I always consider it more than like a business. We have a family atmosphere there.
Yeah.
And of course, you'll get some people that veer away and do their own thing and don't go about it correctly. But there's very few places that do what we do. I mean, we have even though we didn't go to business school, I mean, you did a little more. Our father was a huge business guy, and we learned the ins and outs. And
Right.
we need like financial jiu-jitsu, like to be able to build this thing so we can help other
Yeah.
people. It's a business at the end of the day. And then we have to have the skills, and we just so happen to have both.
Yeah.
And we can help people who want to, do their own thing. We've helped most of the people that come through our lineage, I'll say, and have gyms now. We help them.
What would you say if you had to choose, like, what is something that the two of you do that makes your business successful that other businesses could take from you?
We're involved.
Involved.
In
involvement.
everything.
That's a great point.
Yeah, and we understand there's it's a two-way street with respect and with a lot of people will go to gyms and it's like you got to listen to me. We're not like a military type place. Like we always wanted to be. I don't ever tell anybody how to run their gym. You like to bow, you like to shake hands, whatever you like. That's your place. and this is our place, and we like to do what we do. We're very like family oriented, but we're respectful. You know, we're very respectful, and
Yeah, when we linked up with the Gracies, you know, years ago, when I met Helson, shook my hand. He was like, "How you doing?"
Yeah.
You know, like this, and it was very much like our family.
Right.
So it's like Italian family. We're
Oh,
all,
yeah.
you know, like it was like that. Elio Gracie, we didn't have to bow to Elio Gracie and get on our knees and like, you know, like
Right.
bow down, whatever. And then I liked that, but it was
Yeah.
just respect for respect. You
Yes.
know, and he didn't have to, you know, respect first and then,
Right.
you know, receive your respect, whatever. I don't even
100%.
care about that, but you know what I mean?
No, I know
So
exactly.
it's the same thing, like Rick said, you don't have to bow in at jiu-jitsu class at Balance.
Yeah.
But if people are from other schools are used to doing that, of course
do
you
what
have
you
to
want.
maintain that. I don't
Yeah.
like people calling us sir, professor. Like all that stuff is weird to me.
Yeah.
You know, we're Phil. He's Rick. I'm Phil, and that's, you know, as far as we go there, we don't professor. I was like, who, me?
and
That's
the
me.
loyalty thing is a two-way street with us.
Yeah.
100%.
Like I have to be loyal to you.
Can you give him the mic?
You have to be loyal.
Sorry.
Be loyal. No, like loyalty. Everybody talks about loyalty with the students, and I'm
Yeah.
like, well, where's the loyalty with the you know, the teacher to the student?
100%.
I'll give you an example. Like in 2020, I don't do MMA. I help these MMA guys out. Everybody's always like, "You're fighting." I'm like, I do enough fighting. But like we have a lot of the MMA fighters
Yeah.
before 2020. I mean, I had classes that I developed for them. I just love helping these people.
Yeah.
And if you ever see me corner and
But it's not
an
an MMA school.
Right,
yeah,
right,
if
right.
you ever see me corner MMA, I don't take a dime out of their pocket.
Yeah.
Because it's not how I make my money. Not to
Right.
say that like people who make their money that way don't do it. That's
course.
fine. But before that, you know, Joe Pfeiffer was with us,
Yep.
Andre Petrowski, Basil Hafez.
Mm-hmm.
We had a bunch of people who had to leave because of 2020 we had to shut down.
Yeah.
You know, and these guys had to continue making money,
Of course.
and a lot of them, especially Basil. Basil is the most loyal person that I think exists because he didn't want to leave. Like he didn't want to go. And me, and this goes by me saying how loyal I have to be to
Yeah.
him. I'm like, I know it's better for you.
Yeah.
So I'm not here to hold you back. You need to go and do something
Yeah.
and do it. And I love that. I'm actually cornering him in the UFC next week.
That's awesome.
So he'll be there and fighting, and he's a great dude, and he's a hard-working guy, man.
Yeah.
But it's like, how loyal are you if you're like, no, you better stay at my academy and this and that, and
Yeah.
that. I feel like, what are we doing this for? Like, am I
Yeah.
trying to help people? Because at the end of the day, like my brother said, we're not an MMA school. We help these guys out, but it's like I want to better everybody's life.
Yeah.
A lot of times people come in, they want to do MMA. I try to talk them out of it. I'm like, are you sure you want to do it? I said, this is not.
Yeah.
I mean, you might never make money,
Yeah.
and you might break everything in your body. I said,
Right.
you okay with that? And then it's like the people like, yeah, I want to try it. Then I'm like, okay, I'll help you.
Yeah.
I'll help you as much as I can. Now, I used to be
Definitely.
able to go to every tournament. I used to be able to like corner everybody. I got 4 kids now.
Yeah.
I'm almost 50 years old.
Yep.
You know, I'm closer to 50 than anything. And it's like I can't make it. I said I will help you as much as I can. I feel
Yeah.
like I have something to give, and I just the whole thing started like with the Sunday classes with the MMA. I just wanted to fight. I like to fight. I just like it. So I was like, "Oh, you're a professional fighter? I'll help you
Perfect.
out.
Yeah.
But yeah, you beat me up too. Let's go."
I used to say like the UFC fighters used to come in and get beat up by Ricky. Back in the day.
yeah. I could still hold my own a little bit. I still
Yeah.
could, but it was like they would always ask me, "Why are you not doing MMA?" I was like, "Man, I don't want to get punched in the face."
Yeah.
Yeah, I do
That's
not want to
funny.
do that. But that's you asked like coming up and why we're
Yeah.
different. I think
You're
we're
very
different that
involved.
way. I mean, look, I got people coming to my office all the time, and they're, you know, I feel like a psychiatrist half the time.
Yeah. I feel like you have to be as a
Yeah,
coach.
but in return, everybody I encountered helped me out too. I learned from everybody. I learned from the people
Yeah.
that I help out. It's a two-way street here, man.
Yeah.
Nobody's high almighty. I got humbled the first day on the mat, and I tell my kids all the time. I said, "You want to know what Daddy's superpower is?" And they're like, "What?" I said, "Daddy knows he's not the shit."
That
And they're
honestly
like,
is true,
"What?"
though.
I was like, "That's why I train hard, because I'm not the shit. I'm
Yeah.
not the best. I'm nothing. I'm nothing compared. But I constantly build myself. I'm constantly working. I want to better myself. I'm obsessive compulsive. Oh, 100 reps, let's do it. Bop, 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 bop. Oh, and I'm competitive. Oh, you got to see Game House at my house. My wife and I, my wife's just as competitive as I am.
Oh God.
Oh, we sing at the kids when we're beating them in games. We're like, all I do is win, win. And they get so mad. I'm like, go to bed then.
Oh my God. My family was the same way. I used to play, Crash Bandicoot, like the racing game?
No, but I can
No?
imagine.
Okay. Well, it's just like, what I'm talking about. It's just a racing game. I remember
We're
being
too old.
Yeah, sorry. You're way too
Whatever.
old. My dad and I would play in the basement, and my sisters too, but me and him would be like the most competitive. And if I would be like 10, 9 or 10. And if I would be like losing, he would literally look at me and be like, I smell a loser.
Yeah.
I was 10, and now I'm like an adult thinking back.
That's good.
Like, damn, I'm like, I didn't even like bat an eye. Like I feel like most kids now would freaking cry over that.
But I think it's good. I mean, it's competitive, but I think it's good for their character.
Yeah.
You got to teach a
can't win
kid. There's
everything.
nothing worse than a
There's
sore
nothing
loser.
worse.
Yeah.
Nothing
And,
worse.
and look, all kids are going to be that.
Of course, but you gotta help them.
Everybody's like, oh, I want it. Like, even now, I'm like, shut up. If anybody heard how I talk to my kids, they'd be like, oh, my God. I don't know what's going on.
But even like
shut up.
I help coach kids jiu-jitsu, and I see a huge difference when they start and we play like a stupid little game or something. They cry. And then I see like 4 months later they lose and they don't cry anymore. They learn like, it's okay to lose. You'll win again.
Well, no, it's not okay to lose. No, I'm just kidding.
It's not
You
okay.
don't lose in this
Loser!
house. It's okay to lose if you're all right with being made fun of at the house.
I'm just saying, you guys, this is like your longest podcast.
Oh, sorry.
Of
Okay.
course it
I'm just
is.
saying if you want,
I want to get.
I just wanted to just so you know how much time.
Sorry, there's just.
I didn't get through all my fights yet.
Especially because there's 2 of them. It's like 2 podcasts.
Yeah, I know.
I want to make sure before you hit his.
I do. I want to jump. Thank you. I want to jump to the. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
The animal. Yeah, he gets a lot.
The animal.
Animal black belt, which is what a lot of people know you by. So let's start with, how did that name come about?
This guy. He made
Phil?
me do Instagram. Yeah, I hated
You made
social media. I had Facebook as everybody else did.
Yeah.
And I was just so sick of like politics and arguing, and it's just like it's very the opposite of jujitsu.
Yeah,
It's like
exhausting.
everybody get along, shut the fuck up.
Yep.
Do an arm bar, shut the fuck up.
Yep.
I understand there's problems, but there's a time and place. Sorry. So I was like, Phil was like, you should go on Instagram. And I'm like, go on Instagram. It's just another thing that I have to do. He goes, no, man. He goes, all you have to do is just show like a little clip, and you don't even have to interact. And I was like, really?
Oh, I love that.
I was like, all right, I'll try it out. So it's nothing for me. Like all the videos you see is after my class usually, or if I'm doing them on the street.
Yeah.
But I'll either do like one move out of the class that I taught that day, and it takes me 5 seconds, like 30 seconds. And I do it, and I put it together, and I get to train 10 rounds, and I go home. And by the time I hit home, I got so good at editing it, and I do it in 2 seconds.
There you go.
And it started getting, I got like 100 followers. I was like, psh, people like me.
Like, I'm
And
killing
I
the
didn't
game.
realize it, but then I remember when I re-injured my knee was when I got 10,000 followers.
Oh.
And then Phil started getting jealous. He
Uh,
got a little jealous. Please follow my brother, Jiu Jitsu Matrix.
I don't want to do it.
Jiu Jitsu Matrix.
you have good following too, though. You just
Yeah.
very big.
No, he's good. Yeah. Well, he teaches me all the stuff. I'm like,
See?
I refer you to the guy who actually.
do the stuff.
Yeah. Half the stuff that he showed me when I was a teenager. They're like, I've
at
never
that.
seen that before. What's that called? It's a wrist lock. Standing in base. What? No, but so I was an animal black belt. I was like going through names, animal, and then everything was taken, and I was like, well, animal black belt sounds weird, and he liked it, so he was like, all right, cool, take it, and I was like, all right, I took it, and just went off
There
from
you
there.
go. Are you big into animals, or you feel like
Love
an animal?
them. No, so that name, actually came. I was called the animal a few times.
Okay.
My dad.
I was just gonna say, was it a parent?
Yeah, we call it a little animal. And then I loved Animal Planet, and well, we didn't even have Animal Planet back then, but it was the Discovery Channel. And
Right.
then, like we had 3 channels growing up, and like
Yep.
one of them was like Channel
PBS.
12. Yeah, and then I would run home to watch. Like I
Yeah.
was infatuated. I would like walk around the house as an animal. I thought it was a good. Like nothing cool. I didn't do anything cool to be.
Right.
Later on in my life, I did, and I like attribute those things to my name, but that's not really why I got the nickname.
Yeah.
And then I remember being at a tournament. Any tournament that we went to, if we piled in a room, I wake up like 4 a.m. I'm like, I'll turn on like Animal Planet or something like that. And I think one time I was at a tournament, and one of the guys said, I don't know if you remember when Animal Attacks. There was a show that came out. It was back in the day. It was like all real animals like attacking humans. Well, there was a deer that attacked a guy, and he came in like this, and he's like, and he like tapped, like real stupid, like.
Yeah.
So I guess in
And
one
there
of
he
my
is.
matches, I looked like like I came out. So that's really how I got there. Like, oh, you're like animal
That-
attacks, and then
That's not the story you lead with, is it?
yeah, that's the story of Levi.
You're like, it
I was-
all was because of a
Yeah,
deer.
I was called animal in
We
court.
gotta find that and put it on
In
That's a
court,
good video.
yeah, animal, yeah. I was called animal in court one time by a mother
Really?
because I beat the shit out of their stupid son who was doing drugs and attacking me with 4 or 5 other guys. He was doing a drug, like there was a drug deal that went bad,
Yeah.
right, in the nightclub.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna mention his name, but
Yeah.
he started fighting with the drug dealer, and then it's like I came to just
Yeah.
break it up, and then they all tried to turn on me.
What the?
Well, long story short, didn't end up too good for them. I mean, he was in
You
the
beat all of them?
he was in the hospital. Well, I didn't have to. I hit him with such a shot.
Oh,
I broke his whole face.
Jesus.
So he woke up in the hospital. I got processed
Yeah.
for like defending myself, which
Yeah,
was like
which is
I never went to prison, but I had, in Philly it's
Yeah.
like you're actually guilty until proven
Yep.
innocent, because if I could have had 20 guys jumping me,
Yeah.
and if I beat them all up, I would go to jail,
That's crazy.
only because they become the victim.
Yep.
Right? So so we went to court. I had to fight that, and his mother was like, "He's an alibi, he needs to be caged," and I was like, that was before I had Instagram. I wish I had
You're
that.
like, thank you so much.
Plug.
100 plus thousand
I was
followers.
like, and
later.
your son's a junkie, and he likes to fight people with his friends.
Yeah.
When I need to just go home.
Did you win that?
I
hope?
won. I'm
Okay.
undefeated in the court.
There you go. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully, that's why I stay in the house. I hang out with my dog, my wife, and my kids.
There you go.
I don't want to be bothered.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
So, how come you think you got so popular just posting a lot of videos that resonate with people?
I think I don't know. I do. So my style kind of goes back to what Phil was saying. We grew up in an environment in exercise where he was a wrestler. He did catch wrestling. He was always involved in other martial arts where we would incorporate different stuff. Helson was on another level. Like, he was ahead of the game now with the street stuff. I mean, he's probably been in the most street fights out of all the Gracies. I mean, you think I have stories? That boy has stories. And I think we just had this like mixture of education in the very beginning of learning this.
Mm-hmm.
And if you watch a lot of my stuff, it's almost catch wrestler. Like, I do neck crank. I go taboo-ish, kind of into the taboo, and the people are like, I've never seen that before.
Oh, I like it.
A
Yeah,
lot of
it's
the
interesting.
stuff that I've been doing, I mean, I've done for years, and a lot of the questions come up as I'm training with the guys. I'll try to do 10 rounds every time.
Yeah.
I'll teach, and I'll let's go 10 5-minute rounds. Boom, let's go. And I'm UFC fighters, women, I don't care. I'm going 10 rounds. So I usually do the moves to them, and then they ask, and I'm like, here, I'll put it on video. This way,
There you go.
Because there's no secrets.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that. Like, there's a pec lock that I do, and that's very like catch wrestler-ish.
Yeah.
And I put pec lock to it because I was like, what am I going to call this? I was like, well, it tears your pec. I'm going to call it the pec lock.
Yeah.
So I started doing it, but
See,
it's like
you are the namer.
yeah, I am.
No, he definitely
I
is.
am. Broken butterfly guard.
Oh, wow.
I was the first to be published doing that.
Broken butterfly guard.
Yeah, I think Keenan calls it the crab guard with a K or something else. But it's like, I don't claim to invent things.
Right.
That's stupid.
There's a
It's
million
like,
names
even
for
we
stuff.
steal things from the ancient. I just figure things out. And for me, I put names to things because the way my brain remembers things, I did it for myself.
Yeah.
We didn't have video back in the day. So
Right.
anytime Helson came every 6 months, he had to write down, I had to write down. And it's like, if you ever see how I interpret things on paper, my God, it's like Jar Jar Binks. And then, like, we used to have to share each other's information, figure it out. You know what I mean? So the way I would do it, I was like, I got to put a name to this, and
Yeah, to help
broken
you
butterfly, hoagie grip.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
people are like, hoagie, what's a hoagie? So a lot of the names were just for me, and then
Yeah.
I put these on there, and then I love the people online. They're like, that's actually a key lock from the air, and they give me some Japanese name. I was like, I don't give a fuck. This is what I call it. And I'm not claiming to invent anything. I'm just like, I figured it out. But there's a lot of things that people are like, I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's people who have, but I guess I do a lot of unique movement.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
The internet is a crazy place.
Yeah, and I
good
do these
and
moves.
bad.
I just put out my that video on the guillotine with the
Yeah.
arm in. Did you see that one?
No.
Because it's
I don't
probably
think
one of
so.
the hardest guillotines, I think, to get out of it. Because if you have underneath the arm, it's an arm in guillotine. It's the one
Yeah.
like Henzo's awesome at. I think Dante commented. I was like, I think I commented back on him. I said, nobody can get out of yours because he's got an awesome guillotine. But he usually does the head and arm. And it's super hard to get out. And everybody's like, well, what the? They see it, and it's
Yeah.
like I called it the most controversial way to get out because I actually was training one day, and I just got caught in the position. It was one of
I did
those.
see this.
It
Yeah.
was one of the Hail Mary fucking things. It's like I just thought of it and I did it.
Yeah.
Because it's like when you do jiu-jitsu, it's like problem solving's got to be fast.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's like you might do things that'll get you caught. Who cares? Who cares about getting anything? So I got caught in it, and I put my forehead on the ground. I bridged up, and I'm like, oh my god, this dude. And I think he was a blue belt.
Yeah.
And I was like, this dude's friggin' strong. And I found a wedge.
Uh-huh.
I found space. I made it happen. And then if you watch it, it's kind of like a hybrid of my back escape,
Yeah.
head and back to the ground because it put you there.
Yeah, no,
And-
I did see this because I thought it was like unique. Every time I see your videos, I'm like, I'm gonna try that today, and then I'm
Yeah.
like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and look, it's like
It's
I
so much
can't.
harder
I
than it
can
looks.
explain the stuff. Like I don't like talking into the camera.
Yeah.
I'm just like in other words, like, hey guys, what's going on
Right,
today?
you'd rather just do it.
My life's awesome. I can't.
Follow,
I can't do
subscribe.
that. So I do like, and I feel comfortable just say, hey, teaching the move, blah 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 blah. And sometimes I'll just do it to music. Here, I gave you. Hopefully, I bettered your
Yes.
life, and that it.
Yeah.
So a lot of people will offer me explanation. I'm like, come to class.
Yeah.
But I got people from all around the world, and they're like, well, can you explain? I was like, dude,
Yeah.
I could try to do as much as I can. So a lot of people are like, well, that doesn't work because what if this, this, this? And if you notice, I just like everybody's stuff. I don't read
Yeah.
anybody's things. I don't read any of your comments. So if you're talking about my mom or my kids, I don't really care. Nothing bothers me. I don't read it. I just like your stuff. So
Yeah.
it actually, you get me more followers that way.
Oh, 100%.
Because engagement, whether it's negative engagement.
100%. That's.
yeah.
I'm finally starting to get some negative engagement, which is good. It's a positive thing. It means that.
If you want, I'll
Yeah.
start a fight with you.
Yeah. Can you please? Can you reply
I'm like,
and say
what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you come on and say I was the worst interviewer you've
Yeah,
ever
yeah,
met?
yeah. I'll do that. I'm like,
Please
I'll do it.
promise.
I'm gonna sound like, what a shit show.
Wait till you guys hear this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
God.
had like somebody comment something, but I was like, this is great.
People get emotional.
Below. I'm gonna find it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
people get
find it.
emotional because this is my video. I need it. I was like, dude,
Yeah.
don't get emotional with
No,
it. And that's
I
me
don't.
saying that. So the minute you engage, then you give these people who have no lives,
Yeah.
like, you just put fuel to fire. You just give them.
I replied back
Give
to the
them
last
life.
one on purpose because I knew
Yeah.
it would create
that.
engagement.
Yeah.
You know, and then somebody else replied to what I said. I was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, every now and then, if I catch like something and somebody
might say
asks me a
something.
question, I'll like give them a quick. I'm like, yeah, try it out. Let me know how you like it.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And
Yeah.
then, but it's hard to explain a move, especially if I'm putting music to it.
Yeah.
I really try to stay detailed. It's crazy because he's the techie one. Like he knows on it, but I like figured out how Instagram and social media works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the algorithm.
And now, I figured it out, and it's constantly changing. And I do it by trial and error because
let
all
me
these
know.
people are like, how are you getting like? Because I'll show you I'm getting 100 followers every like time I go. And they're
Can
like,
you
how?
share with me?
Yeah. No, and I'll tell you, it's about. I mean, I can go on and on. That's another podcast. But
Yeah, you can tell me
yeah.
after or whatever.
No.
I would love to know. Yeah, take it off camera.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah,
No.
and I don't get paid for my Instagram.
No, really.
No,
What? I thought
I
they did
don't
pay you
because
eventually.
I did have my identity stolen 2 years ago. It's the worst shit ever. And the more look, everybody has your social security number. I get it. I learned like financial jujitsu, self-defense 2 years ago because I had to lock up all my stuff. So with Instagram, you got to give them your social security, and they're not secure.
Yeah.
You know, so this is another thing that I would have to deal with. So instead of making the little bit of money that I probably would make, because again, I'm humble, I'm not anybody, so I'm not going to be.
Yeah.
I'm not going to shake the house with what I would possibly make.
It is pennies too, honestly.
Yeah, I use it as a vehicle to either help other people, like I got a people, or a vehicle I'll send them to my website where I have control of.
Yes.
So I think that's better.
Yeah.
Not to say there's some people out there who are like internet sensations and
Yeah.
they're making money. God bless you.
Yeah.
Half of them are like 10 years old. But
I was gonna say literally,
yeah,
quite
literally 10
though.
years old. But I don't have that time.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not into it. I really want to just.
Yeah, you do it
Phil
for
was telling
fun.
me to do it because he knows I like to like give back.
Yeah.
Because it's like jujitsu saved our lives and made our lives so much better.
Yeah.
How do you thank jujitsu? There's no
Yeah.
way to thank it other than pass it forward and give it back. So that's like my way of like I can give it back, and that's why I help
Yeah.
the MMA guys. Like, again, I take no money. In fact, I spend more money helping them
Yeah.
than I ever get back. But at the end of the day, it's like not how I make my money. It's
Yeah.
it all comes around.
No,
It all
that
comes
makes
around,
sense.
you
Anything to add to that? I was gonna say, speaking of things you're passionate about,
know.
let's get to. Yeah, please. This can be the mic drop. Tattoo tea.
Tatsu too.
Tatsu? Tatsu? Tatsu.
Tatsu, yeah.
Tatsu. Okay. Let's talk about it. Whose thing is this? Both of yours?
Both.
It's more.
Yeah.
So how did it start? It's delicious, by the way. Thank you for bringing me one. Appreciate you.
No problem. How did it start? Quite a few years ago, my friend Todd, who's one of our black belts, jiu-jitsu, we're all the partners are jiu-jitsu players, came to me with a packet.
Mm-hmm.
Ripped the packet open, put it in water, shake it up, drink
Yep.
it. It worked, but
Yeah.
it didn't taste as good as that.
Okay.
And more or less, like
This
he
is
was
great.
looking for a partner, and so at that point, I was also involved with the marketing of food and beverage. So I owned a marketing company up until last year, and we were working with food and beverage and anything canned, and so I was very familiar with the beverage market and the players and all that sort of stuff. So I said, if we can get it to a ready to drink like this, and it tastes good, and it influences the jiu-jitsu, like if it's a jiu-jitsu inspired beverage, I think I would invest. I would help. I think it can sell in jiu-jitsu, and as long as it's supporting jiu-jitsu, I'm in.
Yeah.
And then from there, I brought in another partner, Bill, who's in packaging, and he did all that sort of stuff for 20. And he's a black belt in
cool.
jiu-jitsu. And then we had to bring this famous influencer in
Brought to you
for
by
all his
Animal Black
his
Belt.
nonviolent skills. You know.
Is the answer.
And then my buddy Mike, who is a startup attorney, he was also, I always say this, he'll never tell you, he was one of the founders of Venmo too.
Oh, no
So he
shit.
knows the startup game, and then
Very
because
cool.
these things are very capital heavy.
Oh yeah.
Mr.
Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank has taught me that it's very
Yeah.
hard to get into the
Yeah,
food and beverage.
it's very uncommon to succeed.
Yeah.
But I figured, at least, like I said, like jiu-jitsu, at least if it's so matcha, that's the main ingredient, has been used in martial arts by samurais for thousands of years. So the other thing I didn't want to do is try to reinvent a formula,
Yes.
which we did. We added so there's electrolyte and vitamin boost. So that's the thing we added. So we
Yeah.
wanted to do something like matcha tea meets electrolytes,
Yeah.
like a Pedialyte. So matcha, Pedialyte, and the airborne in
Yeah, I love
one drink.
Love that.
And that was the vision, to be both a pre and post, let's say, jiu-jitsu training drink.
Yeah.
And so we spent the last year or so testing in the market. So it's our year zero right now. It has sold out. It has sold widely around the United States. We're in quite a few places in the tri-state area on shelves.
Oh, wow.
But not big box stores yet. It's a whole different endeavor.
Okay. Yeah.
But right now, like, a lot of
Mom
jiu-jitsu.
pop stores kind of thing right now.
Mom and pop stores, yeah, some chains,
Cool.
hospitality, jiu-jitsu schools all
Very
around the
cool.
United States are carrying it, which is super cool.
Yeah.
So we spent this last year just trying to kind of figure out the inside, because we're strangers to the industry. But I think with all of our skills and our advisory, and our advisory board is filled with all the red belts of beverage.
Yeah.
That's a true, like if we have an issue, we call them up, say, hey, what do you think? What's the answer? And we get the
Yeah.
answer, we do it. So we have a mild advantage,
Right.
than a normal startup.
100%.
We have a guy that
Yeah.
started, a huge,
He knows what he's
like
doing.
a Venmo thing. That's a huge endeavor. He knows how to raise money and get the right people involved.
Yeah.
We're, like I said, it is a jiu-jitsu inspired beverage,
Mm-hmm.
something to improve your game. Like I said, it's both like a, energy performance source, but also a recovery source after the fact. So it's interesting. Yeah. And then we're having fun with it. So as long as we're having fun with it too, it fuels podcasts.
Yeah. See that?
All right.
Coming to a podcast near you.
Bye, Tatsu
Were you?
Tea.
No way.
What is it?
How come?
Should I tell
Oh,
him?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
Tell me. It's delicious, honestly.
Yeah. So I knew he's always got his hands in something and doing something. But I'm very skeptical of any kind of supplement or something like that. I'm very if you need it, eat it.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So he came to me one day. He's like, "Remember, you were like, just try it, just try it." I'm like, "Dude, I'm not putting that stuff."
It was
And I will not, and I won't, and I won't, yeah. But I won't endorse anything that doesn't work. So
Right.
like people call me all the time on Instagram, and they're like, "Hey, can you do?" I was like, "Listen, I'm gonna give my honest opinion."
Yeah, if I don't like it.
I was like, "I don't like it. You're gonna get blasted." So finally, he had like a 22. You had a case, but you had like 22 in there. So I was like, all right, I'll do it like a 22-day challenge. I'll do
Yeah.
it. And the only thing I did was I replaced the one Tatsu tee. I did, I think two, might have did. No, I just did the one Tatsu tee with my water that I usually would do in my Monday, Wednesday,
Okay.
Friday, Saturday training session.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. So I've been doing this 10 rounds my whole life.
Yeah.
So I didn't really feel a difference. Like I was like, okay, I feel good. And I drank it during my class, so I knew when we were ready to spar
Yeah.
or ready to get into it, it would be, whatever. Where I felt the difference was when I got home.
Oh.
And I didn't
Recovery.
crash because usually my whole life, even when I was a kid, it's not even, everybody's like, you're getting old now. I'm like, no, even as a kid, I was just active.
Yeah.
I go home, I don't want to talk about jiu-jitsu. I just crash
Yeah.
and eat. And that was like my wife thought I was on coke. I was like, yo, let's, I want to go. And I was like, yo, take the baby out. Cause I don't even hold the baby. I was like, and then I got mad at Phil.
Why?
Cause I was sure, I was like, what the fuck is in this shit?
Oh.
So then I'm calling him. I'm like, dude, what the fuck is in this shit?
Yeah.
I said, is there like, dude, if there's something
Speed.
not natural in this, he's like, calm down. We're having a meeting and you're going to see exactly what the lawyers know. You're going to see exactly what's in it.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I know there's something in it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like anything that got me like too over the edge.
Yeah.
I just felt like, man,
Yeah.
I'm up. I feel like taking ibuprofen.
Yeah.
You know how you take it?
Yeah. Oh.
Ibuprofen. He's like, whoa, I feel like I go another 5 rounds.
Yeah.
It like made me feel like that.
Yeah.
So that's like the only way I can explain after training. So now I'm addicted to it. So I have them. And the problem is now I got to hide them from my wife.
She loves
Because
them.
she loves them too. My
Yeah.
oldest daughter
My
loves
house
them.
too, same.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, man, we got to get this thing going because we're our best customers
Yeah.
right now.
I love how light, like the taste is so light.
Yeah.
Because I like tea, but I don't like a crazy tea flavor. Same with coffee, but this is like perfect sweet.
I'm a coffee
to-
drinker.
Me
I don't
too.
even like tea.
Me too, but I like that this isn't a lot of caffeine. It's
Yeah.
just enough.
I don't think it tastes like tea. I only drink it
Tastes
cold.
like tea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I only drink it cold.
Where's the name from?
Tatsu actually refers to the word uplifting.
Uplifting.
Yeah, so also refers to like a dragon.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of
Very cool.
interpretation.
Yeah. Did you say there's something in here that helps with like germs, like your immune system? Did you say that?
Well, so what Rick was referring to, he was asking me like, what is in this thing?
Yeah.
There's magic to matcha.
Yeah.
Like truly.
Yeah.
And the way it makes you feel, the inclusion of like the L-theanine that is naturally occurring in matcha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Generally, like you see these energy drinks, they put it in there,
Yeah.
but it doesn't work together with the other elements.
Right.
The original formulator, my partner Todd, put this together as actually there's a whole funny story around why, but to have the perfect proportion of the vitamins and electrolytes, which you can overdo in other
Yeah.
drinks. So there's just he just put together a perfect proportion for that light, uplifting sort of nature to it.
Right.
So it would come from your question from the vitamin mix
Yeah.
in there too. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's important because I feel like I get sick constantly from just being around.
yeah,
all
like I
these-
said, it is an
kids
airborne.
and
It's a Pedialyte
people.
and it's matcha tea in one.
Yeah, I get sick all the time after coaching with kids. So I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
I need it.
I got them in my house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it
Oh yeah, you have to
has-
take them home with you. God
take 'em
forbid. Right now with like flu, germs,
my-
the kids are sneezing in my face. I'm
Yeah.
like,
They're sick now.
ugh, it's the worst. Hand
Now,
sanitizer.
When you get your black belt, you can't get
Oh.
sick anymore.
Oh, that's good to know. All right, just like 10 more years to go.
Can you
Great.
even hear you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it has an immunity,
That's
sort of
awesome.
booster in there. It's cool.
Is your friend like a chemist or?
He's so he put the formulation. He's a nutritionist and dietitian by trade,
Very cool.
and has studied the stuff. And he's an expert in the matcha ceremony.
Very
His
cool.
martial arts training started in Japan,
Oh, very cool.
and his teacher invited him to learn the traditions of matcha too,
Mm-hmm.
and then became familiar with the actual farm that our matcha comes from, the family.
Right.
He just went, just recently too. He was in Japan. He went on, a tour of the full center too. So
That's very awesome.
yeah. So the grade of the matcha is important for us too. And the way we changed it is the way we extract. So the real
Okay.
secret of this thing is how it's extracted. Because if you put,
Interesting.
and that's why you don't see many, if any, matcha products on the market. It's very hard to tame the flavor and the actual way. Like basically, if you leave matcha in a can, it'll all go to the bottom. The way we
Oh,
actually
yeah.
worked it, it stays even bodied. And it
Interesting.
took time. It took time to formulate and get it right, and so the innovation there, led to what you're looking at today.
Yeah, that's very cool. Can
You
you,
know-
buy this online?
Tatsutea.com. Yeah,
Okay.
you can buy a 12 pack now or 24. People all around the United States subscribe, so every month they get their 12 pack, 24 pack, so you don't run out.
Yeah.
Like I said, these little battles happen in people's homes, where our biggest surprise in buyer are teenagers and people above 50.
Really?
Big time.
Huh.
Huge, yeah.
That is
Our
interesting.
one of our advisors, our brand new advisor, he was the CFO of a very large beverage company, very, very significant beverage company. He drinks 3 a day.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's 56, 57. We were talking to him via Zoom the other day, and he was like, "Thanks again, guys." Like, he's like this.
Oh, that's
He's
cool.
part of our advisory board.
Yeah.
The guy is a very wealthy guy. Like I said, very knowledgeable in the beverage space.
That's awesome.
And he believes that it's going to keep on
Definitely.
moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we figured out what nobody else did, is how to tame the matcha. It's, like you
Yeah.
said, a very expensive product. If mistakes are made, like in this process, you have to throw out the whole batch.
I scared the shit out of the matcha. I'm like, work.
Are you?
So yeah, so it's fun. So it's a lot of fun.
Do you think you'll ever have other flavors, or just?
So
stick with
we
this?
have in innovation right now a berry and a peach. So
that
those will
sounds
be our
amazing.
next two. When we don't know,
Okay.
but it has to taste good.
Peach
It has
sounds
to
amazing.
has to be in the same calorie profile,
Yep.
because like people use this for fasting too.
Yeah.
So it's 10 calories, 2 grams of carbs, which are basically, that's your threshold for any sort of maintenance of ketosis.
Only 2 grams of sugar.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's what the leech.
Oh.
And then I tested on myself too, and I stayed at my levels. I had just one of those a day, no food, just water, tatsu. That's all I had.
That's
And it
awesome.
stayed, my levels stayed the same.
That's really cool.
So, but it has to be tested by body weight, by gender, by,
Yeah.
So we'll have a full panel study on the maintenance
I'm gonna talk
for
to
fasting.
Jeremy, because at Freedom he has a fridge,
Mm-hmm.
and he's constantly trying new energy drinks. I know it's not technically an energy drink, but it has
Yeah.
caffeine.
Well, what we are,
He would probably love this.
We are competing formally in the alternative energy market. So we ideally are placed right next to Body
Jocko?
Jocko. Yeah, it's a little bit of a different thing,
Yeah.
but I would rather be placed next to Red Bull Celsius. And
Oh, okay.
That's our ultimate placement,
Yeah.
and we
it's a
actually
healthier alternative.
literally in our tests in different retailers, we know the people, so we're lucky enough to get the shelf placement next
Yeah.
to Red Bull,
Mm-hmm.
and we've seen them. We outperform them
Yeah.
in like the gyms and stuff like that, because you make a choice when you walk up to a case and you look at a Red Bull, like you do this thing. I know it's an energy drink. I know that can.
Yeah.
I know that
Yeah.
like we look like that on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You make that choice. Do I want to go the healthy route, or I pick up this
Yeah.
green one and see what the hell it's all about? And they look at it and go, they take it.
And I do think people want a healthier alternative. That's
Healthy
why I stay
alternative.
away from the
Yeah.
energy balls.
And then definitely do your research too before you put things in your body, because the deeper I've gotten in beverage, the more fearful I've
Yeah, I
become
bet.
of what I see and
It's
what is
gross.
allowed in America.
Mm-hmm.
In like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dun, dun,
I mean,
dun.
you really have to look. Like I was just like, I don't touch them anyway, so it's not
Yeah.
a concern for me.
Well, it's in everything now.
It's in
Yeah.
everything, even just the dyes, the colors, the alternative.
Right.
Just to say, hey, we're not sugar, but we're all this other stuff
Right.
that you need to, like, I would rather almost have sugar. Yeah. So
No,
anyway,
I love it. Now
so
that I
that's-
taste it, I'm like, if you guys are looking, if you need a sponsorship, if you want to sponsor Jits and Giggles, let me know anytime. Put you on there. Tatsu tea.
Maybe like a Joe Rogan.
Exactly.
yeah. So it's on
I hope
Rogan
so.
now, so it's
Is it?
pretty big. Yeah,
Rogan.
we just sponsored him. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
Road Jogan.
Road Jogan.
We should do the road Jogan because it'll catch attention. Like what?
Yeah.
Everyone's just confused.
But we sent out to everyone, so
Yeah, yeah. They have no idea. I love it.
So we're
It's
not in that
awesome.
phase right now where we're, reaching out right now. Because like I
Yeah.
said, we're still in like a major testing. But coming in this next new year, you'll probably, maybe
Yeah.
annoyingly see us
No,
everywhere.
I love it. It's smart because you have the jiu-jitsu community behind you, and then that
but it's
kind of
working
bleeds in other
is
things.
the point.
Yeah.
It's like we're not just coming up with something and just saying, "Hey,
Yeah, that's like
friends, try it,"
haphazard.
and people go, "Oh, it's
We did it for
delicious."
us.
Yeah, but they like.
No, I'm saying like,
because we're sick of like all these things.
Yeah.
We're putting out. It's like we needed something so we can train more.
Yeah.
but I've also watched everyone's behavior when they drink it too.
Yeah.
Because you can, like, I gave it to my wife. She goes, "Oh, I don't do energy drinks." I'm like, "It's a tea."
Yeah.
They're like, "Why is it in the can?" Because it's in a can. Like I did it on
Yeah.
purpose to compete in this market.
Right.
And she drank it. She's addicted. She loves it.
I gotta
Like
have
she's drinking all the time.
My dad's a big tea drinker. I'm gonna see.
Yeah,
He'll be
to
the
see.
tester. I want to see what he says.
But I watched her drink, and so she went. Everyone goes like, "You did it too."
Yeah.
You were like, do I put this down and be polite?
No, I actually do like it.
Because you're
And I'm
around
picky
a
with
bunch
tea.
of people that you're friends with that have a product.
Yeah,
and
I'm
you're
like,
like, yeah. I mean, it's fair too. But I've seen people finish the can, or
No, it's delicious.
I don't know if they were forcing it down, but I don't think so. It's super light, and it's not
It is
too
super
hard.
light, is what I like about it, because
I say it's
was
a
scared
light
it
tea
wasn't
in an
gonna be.
aggressive can. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
No, it's a
On
great
purpose.
idea. Would you ever just? I know it's probably far down the line. Would you ever consider like tea bags, or this is
Yeah,
kinda your
honestly,
only
so
way
we
to
have
go?
such a great relationship with the farm. We can do whatever we want. Now, the nature of matcha too, it's a little bit harder to do a tea bag version of matcha. So I would do our matcha powder. I can get that tomorrow,
Oh, that'd
and
be
we're gonna do
great.
a test with it too. But like, you can't. I don't think it's smart to offer too many things too
Oh,
fast.
no, yeah, you
like
gotta
I have to
slow.
explain this thing first.
Yeah, it's a lot. You don't want to grow too
But
fast.
if you have major matcha people, I have the direct line and the right numbers to
Yeah.
get matcha at a lower price in America because we buy so much.
One of my favorite things my mom bought me was this little company. I think it was like in Vermont. It was like K-cups tea, and it had honey, like real honey infused in it. It's like my favorite thing ever because I'm in a rush in the morning.
Yeah.
And other than something like this, if I want it hot, I don't feel like brewing. I just
Right.
pop the K-cup in, and it's already sweet with the honey. It's good to go.
Yeah,
So that could
and
be a
we're
good
big
idea.
on honey too. Like we
Yeah,
grew
it's
up in a
so good.
household. We grew up in a no sugar household with my dad. Honey was
There you
everything.
go,
So we
yeah.
do honey in coffee, honey in this.
Yeah.
So I'm a big. I would do if you ask me what sort of like innovation I'd like. I like the matcha and honey together.
Oh yeah, that'd probably be
It's
amazing.
really cool in little packets.
Yeah.
I would. Yeah. So Tatsu, that's just our anchor hero product
Yeah.
right now.
It's great.
But different flavors, and there's other opportunities for matcha as well.
Yeah.
So, but when we started, nobody really knew about matcha. In
Right.
the last 3 years,
Yeah, now it's
it's-
becoming more popular. Honestly, I've never tried it before. I see it all over social media,
Yeah.
matcha, but
well, if you
delicious.
read the side of that, I don't know if can you read the side of that can?
Meet Matcha 2.0. Whether you're Matcha's biggest fan or think it tastes like licking a lawnmower, this modern blend's for you because matcha is our fuel, not our flavor. Does it not taste good to some people?
No, matcha can be a little bit lawnmower.
Really?
Like, yeah, some people
Huh.
taste it and they're like, nope.
It's like the cilantro.
But it
of
is a
tea.
magical tea. It literally is a magical tea, especially in any sort of. It's a performance tea, we call it.
I like it.
So performance, not just physical, but focus based. And they've done studies on matcha and ADHD, and
thank God.
even like
Thank
other.
God.
No, honestly,
I know. Like,
other illness like not that ADHD because I'm right there with
Oh, yeah.
if you ever identify with it.
yeah.
But other sort of has tons of health benefits.
Yeah.
It's like hard to name them all too.
It reminds me a little bit of green tea, like similar.
It is
like-
green tea.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
I
just
have
that,
no idea.
but the process of matcha and how they actually extract from the leaf is the big deal.
That's what it is.
Because everything naturally grows up towards the sun,
Uh-huh.
and they have a particular shading process, like 3-4 weeks before they harvest, that all the nutrients, L-theanine, all the it's trying to find the sun, so it goes up to the tip of the leaf, and they clip the tip of the leaf, so it has
Oh.
all the most rich,
Very cool.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. It's a
And
whole
so
thing
they
behind it.
gather that. It's a green tea leaf, but just
Ah.
modified.
I'm like, it tastes like green tea.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah.
Very cool.
But I'm saying it's nutrient rich.
Yeah.
It's like about 50 times the amount.
Wow.
That's how
Holy
crazy
crap.
it is. But that's why it's so expensive, and that's why it's so rare.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Maybe in a year we'll have to do another episode and see where you're at with everything.
Yeah, no, we can talk
Did I
all
miss
day.
anything though? Anything I should bring
Thank
up?
you all for coming.
Yeah.
See you next
Anything
time.
I?
You guys hit everything.
We're good. So
Well,
train
thanks for
hard.
having us.
Drink your Tatsu tea.
Tatsu.
Yeah.
Train hard.
Anything else you wanted to add, Rick?
Thank you
Any
for having
shout
us.
outs?
Yeah, thank you
Of
for
course.
having us.
I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
What'd you say? Oh yeah, where can we follow you? What's your Instagram, Phil?
On Instagram, Jiu Jitsu Matrix.
Yes, that's right. And then
Animal black belt.
can you give me my
Animal black belt.
Yes,
Boom.
thank you. Thanks for coming.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Was it painful or what?
Oh.
Ah,
I do have to pee again.
yeah, go ahead.
Team Tatsu's calling us.
Oh, that was awesome.